Chapter 4584. As the leader of the sinful city, Yin Quan knew how terrifying it was for Lin Feng to have a royal bloodline. The royal bloodline was the only bloodline among the sinners' bloodlines that could unite the sinners' bloodlines. If it were another sinner's bloodline leading everyone, they might have different opinions. But who would dare to question the royal bloodline? Lin Feng's ancestors' blood was the strongest in history, and Lin Feng's blood was still the strongest in history. He was the leader of many sinners' blood clans. He could unite many sinners' blood clans. All the sinners' blood clans had to obey him. Who would dare to oppose all of this? No one dared to do so, and no one had the right to do so unless their bloodline was stronger than Lin Feng's. However, no one in this world could compare to Lin Feng's bloodline. So, Yin Quan knew that he had to kill Lin Feng as soon as possible. As long as he killed Lin Feng, the sinner's bloodline would be completely destroyed. After thinking about this, Yin Quan's expression became cold, and the killing intent in his eyes burned. Kill him for me. Yin Quan's cold voice sounded. Yes. The 100,000 cultivators roared in unison, and then they all waved their spears and swept towards Lin Feng. The attacks of 100,000 cultivators gathered together to form a terrifying spear light. It was impossible to imagine how powerful this spear light was. The spear light blasted towards Lin Feng. At this moment, countless people couldn't help but be aghast. This spear attack had reached the level of killing ghosts and destroying immortals. It was impossible for him to contend against that spear. So in many people's opinion, Lin Feng would definitely die under this terrifying spear attack. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. A light flashed in his hand. The sun-slaying divine arrow appeared in his hand. Lin Feng knocked the sun-slaying divine arrow on the Hui bow. Then, Lin Feng's body slightly leaned back. He pulled the bowstring of the Hui bow to half a full moon. Then, the sun-slaying divine arrow shot out. It was as if he was drawing the bow to the full moon and looking northwest to shoot down the heavenly wolf. Everyone saw the sun-slaying divine arrow shot by Lin Feng collide with the attack of the 100,000 cultivators. It was as if two planets had collided. That destructive power spread out in all directions from the point of collision. The void directly split open. That scene was truly horrifying. The most hair-raising thing was that Lin Feng's arrow actually blocked the attack of the 100,000 cultivators. It's the sun-slaying divine arrow, the Hui bow, and the sun-slaying divine arrow. The battle prowess is truly too powerful. That depends on who can use those treasures. Maybe Lin Feng is the only one in the world who can use those treasures, said Lin Feng. He's really is the reincarnated war god. Countless cultivators roared, looking at Lin Feng with incomparable admiration. The battle prowess Lin Feng displayed had deeply shocked them. Too handsome, really too handsome. I really want to marry this little brother. If I can have a relationship with this little brother, even if I die, I'm willing. I'd be satisfied if this little brother just glanced at me. Don't you want to get to know this little brother? Of course I do. I just don't know if he'll like me. Many female cultivators also started discussing, but the content of their discussion was clearly different from the male cultivators. Lin Feng used the sun-slaying divine arrow to block the attack of the 100,000 cultivators. It was truly hot-blooded. Lin Feng, on the other hand, didn't stop. He drew the Hui bow again, and the energy of the world gathered. Next, an energy arrow condensed, and Lin Feng shot it into the sky. Whoosh! The energy arrow flew into the sky like a bolt of lightning. It pierced through the clouds. Then, it exploded. It alarmed everyone in Sin City and within 1,000 miles of Sin City. Cloud-piercing arrow. It's cloud-piercing arrow. A single cloud-piercing arrow can summon an entire army. Could it be that he's summoning his companions? He's the Sinner Emperor. If he's summoning his companions, doesn't that mean he's summoning a sinner's blood descendant? Are there still sinners' blood descendants left? Countless cultivators whispered to each other, discussing spiritedly. Boom! At that moment, boundless demonic light soared into the sky. Next, an earth-shaking roar rang out. Descendant of the fourth demon lord, demon sovereign Joshua, has come to reinforce the Sinner Emperor. When the voice rang out, Everyone saw a man in blood-red robes walking over from the demonic Qi in the distance. He was a sinner from the demon realm. He'd arrived at Sin City around the same time as Lin Feng. He was Wu Tianhai's companion. The sinner's aura was extremely terrifying. He was actually a sinner in the Sky Immortal realm. It's a sinner from the demon realm, someone exclaimed. Now that a sinner from the demon realm had come to reinforce Lin Feng, there would be a good show to watch. Would other experts come to Lin Feng's aid? Descendant of Qiyu, Mu Tianlang, has come to reinforce the Sinner Emperor. At that moment, another voice rang out between heaven and earth. Qiyu was a great demon that had been defeated by the Yellow Emperor and the Flame Emperor in the legends. In the legends, Qiyu was an existence that everyone despised. However, that wasn't the truth. In the legends, Qiyu had been killed by the Yellow Emperor and the Flame Emperor, but that was also a myth. In the early days, Qiyu had indeed clashed with the Yellow Emperor and the Flame Emperor, but that was because they were fighting over territory. In that turbulent era, who didn't want their people to live better lives? Thus, such conflicts were inevitable. Qiyu had indeed been defeated, but the Yellow Emperor and the Flame Emperor had worked together to barely defeat him. They didn't have the ability to kill Qiyu. Later, Qiyu went to kill the mastermind behind the scenes. It was said that he died in battle, but not many people knew about this history. The great hero of the past was now scolded as a great demon. Qiyu's descendant was a cultivator who looked rather young. He seemed to have only cultivated for tens of thousands of years. However, no one dared to underestimate this person because he was definitely an existence that could compete with the top geniuses of the Undying Realm. It was hard to imagine what level this existence's combat strength had reached. The descendant of Mamiri Emperor, Kong Tian, has come to reinforce the Sinner's Blood Emperor. Boundless demonic aura filled the air as the third cultivator stepped out. This was an extremely old man. After seeing this old man, many people's faces were filled with disbelief. This old man was the night watchman of Sin City. The so-called night watchman was the person who worked the night watch at night. Therefore, many people had seen this old man before. Everyone originally thought that this old man was just an ordinary person who had to work the night watch in order to survive. Who would have thought that this person was actually the descendant of Mamiri Emperor? Chapter 4585. Jiang Imo, descendant of the third fire god, Jiang Chun, has come to reinforce the Sinner's Blood Emperor. Another cultivator soared into the sky at that moment. Damn, isn't that the old swindler at the city gates? He's also a powerful Sinner's Blood descendant. Many people couldn't help but cry out when they saw this cultivator. They couldn't believe their eyes. Lin Feng was also astonished when he saw this cultivator. This was because this cultivator was none other than the old man who had sold him the map. Lin Feng hadn't noticed anything unusual about him back then. Lin Feng had even felt that this old man had a mortal body and mortal blood, but now he knew that wasn't the case. This old man's background was frighteningly great. He was actually a descendant of the third fire god. Xing Tu, descendant of the Son of the Earth, has come to reinforce the Sinner's Blood Emperor. Another expert soared into the sky, his background also frighteningly great. Many people had probably heard of the story of Quafu chasing the sun. Quafu was in existence from the beginning of the era, one of the most powerful Xiantian life forms. Quafu's descendant had actually appeared. Gonggong, descendant of the first water god, Gonggong Shui, has come to reinforce the Sinner's Blood Emperor. Another expert appeared, this one a descendant of Gonggong. The first water god was called Gonggong. Later on, Gonggong's descendants used the name Gonggong as their surname. Gonggong was one of the earliest Xiantian life forms, and his bloodline hadn't been severed yet. Descendant of the nine-eyed sacred king, descendant of the divine Tao Lord, descendant of the Blood Knight Lion Emperor. Next, one cultivator after another appeared. Over 100 powerful cultivators appeared one after another. These cultivators were all Sinner's Blood descendants. Most of them were Earth Immortals, and a few were human immortals. There were 3 Sky Immortals among them. This was definitely an extremely terrifying force. After the emergence of these experts, Yizichen was shocked. In the distance, many cultivators soared into the sky. We are Xiantian humans, descendants of the divine blood humans. There were 200 or 300 cultivators, all of them descendants of Scientian humans. Of course, Scientian humans were still humans. The earliest form of humans was Scientian humans. As time passed, the bloodline of the human race became weaker and thinner. Therefore, Scientian humans were stripped of their Scientian title and became humans. We are descendants of sacred King Diding. In another direction, dozens of powerful cultivators soared into the sky. Their origins were also extraordinary. They were cultivators of the demon race. Saint King Diting of the Demon Clan was one of the most powerful Saint Kings in the history of the Demon Clan. Pure-bloodeds. It was said that since the beginning of the new era, only 9 pure-blooded truth listener holy beasts had appeared. We are the descendants of Grand Magus Huang Juji. More powerful warriors appeared. They were from the sorcerer tribe, and there were about 100 of them. Their ancestors had once fought bloody battles in this era. The blood of their ancestors dyed the world red, and dyed the long river of history red. Their ancestors were all people who were worthy of praise and tears. They were spurned by others. Their clansmen were massacred. Their once prosperous clans were few and far between. Now, however, they all stood up. Sinners never admit defeat. Sinners never walk alone. We are now sinners. One day, we will wash away the stain of the world. We are in-laws of the Ninely tribe. Back then, our tribe's beloved daughter married into the Ninely tribe. We are in-laws of the Cloud Sky Sage. We are in-laws of the Jade Blood Sword Immortal. Then, a large number of cultivators stood up. They were not sinners, but they were in-laws of the sinners. Back then, the sinners were massacred. A small number of them escaped and went into hiding. The sinners' in-laws suffered the same fate. Many of them were massacred by the Heavenly Court's army. If not for the pressure of public opinion, perhaps the sinners' in-laws would have been massacred as well. Now, the sinners' in-laws responded to Lin Feng. Countless cultivators soared into the sky. These cultivators all roared out loud. The surrounding cultivators could not help but be shocked by the scene in front of them. A cloud-piercing arrow and an army of thousands came to meet. This saying was indeed worthy of its reputation. The Sinner's Emperor, Lin Feng, shot a cloud-piercing arrow. As expected, he received the support of the Sinner's descendants and Sinner's in-laws. We are not Sinner's descendants. We are not Sinner's in-laws. But we are willing to fight alongside the Sinner's Emperor, Sinner's descendants, and Sinner's in-laws to destroy the Sacred Army. Among the crowd, a cultivator roared. The Sacred Army's atrocities are too numerous to record. Anyone who is suspected by them, even if they are innocent, will have their entire family executed. The Sacred Army's members deserve to die. Brothers, take up your weapons and rebel with the Sinner's Emperor. Following that, another cultivator roared. Rebel, rebel, rebel. Countless cultivators shouted. They took out their magic treasures and soared into the sky. Seeing so many people come to support him, Lin Feng felt hot tears welling up in his eyes. A just cause enjoys much support. An unjust cause enjoys little support. The ancients did not deceive me. At this moment, the 100,000 cultivators of the Sacred Army were in a panic. There were only about 20,000 to 30,000 cultivators supporting Lin Feng. However, their morale was already unstable. This was because they could see endless hatred, anger, and killing intent in the eyes of the cultivators supporting Lin Feng. They also had a firm will, as well as many years of endurance and hibernation. Moreover, at this moment, even more cultivators were flying over from all directions to support Lin Feng. Do you want a rebel? Yin Quan could not help but roar. He had not expected this situation. Now that he saw so many people supporting Lin Feng, he was infuriated. Yin Quan was extremely angry, but in addition to anger, there was also a trace of fear. Kill, slaughter the Sacred Army's members. That bastard Yin Quan is the son-in-law of the Sacred Army. Capture Yin Quan. Countless cultivators shouted. A large number of cultivators charged towards the 100,000 cultivators of the Sacred Army. Yin Quan shouted, "Don't panic. We have an army of 100,000, and they are well trained. These people are just a temporary group. They are disorganized. How many battles have we experienced? How can these people compare to us? Their cultivation is not weak, but the battle of the army is about teamwork. What are we afraid of? They are just a motley crew now. Yin Quan's words were very effective. After hearing them, the restless hearts of the 100,000 cultivators of the sacred army calmed down. The cultivators of the sacred army were in high spirits, their fighting spirit soaring to the heavens. Chapter 4586. Kill, kill, kill. The cultivators of the sacred legion roared. Their auras condensed together, forming one essence chi dragon after another above them. The sacred legion truly lived up to its name as an elite legion. They were able to adjust their emotions in an extremely short amount of time. Moreover, their auras had reached their peak. The current cultivators of the sacred legion were absolutely terrifying. Actually, Yin Quan was right about one thing. If a major battle really broke out, the sacred legion would have a huge advantage. This was because when cultivators fought, they paid great attention to teamwork. The cultivators of the sacred legion had great teamwork. This was their first advantage. In addition, the sacred legion had 3 to 4 times the number of cultivators supporting Lin Feng. This was the second advantage of the sacred legion. With 2 advantages, the sacred legion's battle prowess was naturally terrifying. On the other hand, the cultivators supporting Lin Feng, hatred had ignited their blood. Thus, they were now charging at the sacred legion. They could be described as fearless. However, they were going to face a well-trained army of cultivators. The enemy's attacks were bound to be interlinked and incomparably terrifying. When the time came, the cultivators supporting Lin Feng would definitely be routed. Once they were routed, they would be wantonly massacred by the cultivators of the sacred legion. Who knew how many people would die? Lin Feng was very clear on this point. Thus, when the cultivators supporting him charged at the sacred legion, Lin Feng began to walk through the void. The war drums from the absolute beginning are about to sound. The glory of the gods will illuminate the starry sky of the absolute beginning era. The great gods, even though you have passed away, we, as your descendants, have never forgotten you. Your blood has dyed the heavens red. Your wills have merged with heaven and earth. You are unyielding experts. You have fought for this epoch. Even if you die 9 times, you will have no regrets. Countless years later, we, the descendants, have chased after the glory of the gods. We have crossed the river of time and fought alongside the gods. Mighty gods, we are willing to dye this world red with our blood. For the sake of the living beings of this world, for the sake of the peace of this epoch, we are willing to sacrifice our lives. Mighty gods, please revive your indestructible will. We will fight side by side, fighting against heaven and earth. We are fearless. We will definitely win this war. Lin Feng's voice was impassioned and surging, shaking the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Lin Feng's voice entered everyone's ears. Sinner's blood descendant, Sinner's blood-in-laws, as well as the chivalrous warriors who supported Lin Feng, they heard Lin Feng's voice. Their blood vessels surged. This was the legendary battle song of the gods. The battle hymn of the gods was a battle hymn created by the gods during the era of the titled gods. When there was a large-scale battle, the battle song of the gods could be used to boost the fighting power and boost the morale of the troops. As soon as Lin Feng finished speaking, a loud rumbling sound could be heard. Then, above the 9 heavens, a huge river appeared. The river surged endlessly. It seemed to have crossed the past, the present, and the future. The river seemed to be the legendary river of time. Who's calling us? Suddenly, a deep voice came from the river. Heavens, what's that? Many cultivators who were watching the battle pointed at the bottom of the river. One figure after another appeared at the bottom of the river. There seemed to be many cultivators sleeping at the bottom of the river. Now, the sleeping existence at the bottom of the river had sensed Lin Feng's call. It's the primordial spirits of the gods that have yet to be destroyed, a cultivator said loudly. Mighty gods, we have inherited your will. Please fight side by side with us. We will carry your hopes. We will protect this epoch. Lin Feng shouted. Everyone, our primordial spirits can no longer resist the erosion of time. Before they dissipate, let's fight one more time. That voice sounded. All right, let's fight one more time. Voices rang out one after another. Then, one figure after another stood up from the bottom of the river. Densely packed figures. They crossed the distance of time and space and looked down. At that moment, countless people felt tears welling up in their eyes. The gods. They really were the primordial spirits of the gods that had yet to dissipate after they died. Their primordial spirits were sleeping at the bottom of the river of time. And now, the primordial spirits of the gods. They were awakening one after another. Perhaps our ancestors were among them. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The next moment, the primordial spirits of the gods in the river of time turned into beams of light and flew down. The beams of light merged into the bodies of the cultivators one after another. After being possessed by the primordial spirits of the gods, many cultivators couldn't help but let out earth-shaking roars. They felt, at that moment, their bloodlines, their bodies. They had completely merged with the primordial spirits of the gods, the power of the gods, the fighting spirit of the gods. They had also perfectly merged with their own bodies. This was an extremely strange feeling. However, everyone could feel their battle strength increasing crazily. Are you willing to fight side by side with me? A voice rang out in everyone's mind. That was the primordial spirits of the gods that had possessed their bodies. They were asking them, "I'm willing." Every cultivator shouted loudly. Then let's fight side by side. Bloody battle in the sky. The primordial spirits of the gods said. The cultivators shouted loudly, "Even if we die 9 times, we have no regrets." Kill. The densely packed cultivators charged towards the cultivators of the Sacred Legion. Everyone's willpower fused with the willpower of the gods. Everyone's essence, energy, and spirit rose to the peak. The essence Chi Dragon formed above the cultivators of the Sacred Legion was instantly destroyed. The cultivators of the Sacred Legion saw the cultivators charging towards them without fear of death. Panic appeared on their faces again. Steady, steady. We can win. We can win. Yin Quan roared loudly. The next moment, a great battle broke out. The cultivators of the Sacred Legion attacked the cultivators charging towards them. However, the cultivators charging towards them had received the support of the primordial spirits of the gods, and their battle strength had increased crazily. When the cultivators of the Sacred Legion attacked, they were all blocked by the cultivators charging towards them. Then, 20 to 30,000 cultivators charged towards the 100,000 cultivators of the Sacred Legion. After the formation of the Sacred Legion was broken, they were simply no match for the cultivators who had received the support of the primordial spirits of the gods. A large number of cultivators of the Sacred Legion were killed, and their corpses fell from the sky towards the ground. Chapter 4587. At this moment, the battle was extremely fierce. However, Lin Feng's side clearly had the upper hand. After receiving the buffs from the primordial spirits of the gods, their fighting strength became extremely powerful. Thus, Lin Feng's side began a massacre. The casualties of the Sacred Legion became heavier and heavier. That Lin Feng is truly worthy of being Lin Baiyan's son. He's too awesome. That's right. I don't know what kind of powerful technique he used to awaken the primordial spirits of the gods slumbering in the river of time. Now that the primordial spirits of the gods have fused with those cultivators, they can unleash a terrifying attack. It's really amazing. I can't believe it. The Sacred Legion's cultivator army has been scattered. The greatest advantage of the Sacred Legion's cultivator army is that they are invincible in teamwork. Now that they've been scattered, they can no longer work together. Although they still have the advantage in numbers, their morale has fallen too much. This battle is inevitable. Look in the distance. There are even more cultivators participating in this battle. I'm afraid Lin Feng is about to rise. Brothers, what are we waiting for? Let's go deal with those bastards from the Sacred Legion. They've been an eyesore for a long time. If we don't take action now, when will we? Let's go and kill those bastards from the Sacred Legion. Many cultivators were originally talking about this war, but soon, those cultivators also participated in the war. Due to the increasing number of cultivators participating in the battle, these cultivators were clearly Lin Feng's supporters. Thus, the Sacred Legion's cultivators were already in a state of disarray. At this time, Lin Feng joined forces with the fourth Devil Lord's descendant, Nine Blood Devil Sovereign, Shi Yu's descendant, Mu Tianlang, and Ma Miyuri's descendant, Kong Tian, to besiege Yin Quan. Yin Quan's strength was incomparably terrifying. He was actually a quasi-true immortal expert. Yin Quan's strength was comparable to the 9 vice-generals of the Sacred Legion, but his status was not as high as the 9 vice-generals. This was because Yin Quan's contributions were not comparable to the 9 vice-generals. The Sacred Heavenly Monarch sent Yin Quan to guard the capital in hopes that he could find as many sinners' blood descendants as possible. Every sinner's blood descendant they found was equivalent to a contribution. Over the years, Yin Quan had found many sinners' blood descendants, but they had all died at his hands. Perhaps in a few years, Yin Quan could also be promoted to Deputy Legion Commander. However, Yin Quan no longer had the chance to advance. Lin Feng would not let this guy go. Just a moment ago, Lin Feng heard some people talking about Yin Quan's background. This guy seemed to be the son-in-law of the Divine Heavenly King. Previously, Lin Feng had killed the Divine Heavenly King's 7 sons, Shinzong Dao. If the Divine Heavenly King were to find out that he had killed Yin Quan, the son-in-law of the Divine Heavenly King, wouldn't he be angered to death? Lin Feng was in charge of long-range attacks, while Demon Venerable Joshua, Mu Tianlang, and Kong Tian were in charge of restraining Yin Quan. The reason why Yin Quan was recruited by the Divine Heavenly King as his son-in-law was because of his talent when he was young. Back then, Yin Quan was also an extremely heaven-defying existence, able to challenge opponents who were several major realms above him. He was one of the top geniuses of his generation. Therefore, the battle strength of someone like Yin Quan was not something that ordinary quasi-true immortals could compare to. Although Demon Venerable Joshua, Mu Tianlang, and Kong Tian were all heavenly immortals, they were still a bit lacking when compared to Yin Quan. From this, one could see just how powerful Yin Quan was. Of course, the 3 of them had Lin Feng assisting them from the side. Lin Feng held the Hui Bao and shot an arrow at Yin Quan from time to time. Every time Yin Quan repelled the 3 experts and wanted to pursue and kill them, Lin Feng's arrow would have already arrived in front of Yin Quan. Although Yin Quan was powerful, he did not dare to ignore the terrifying power of the Hui Bao. Therefore, Yin Quan was very sullen right now. Although his battle strength was astonishing, it was very difficult for him to gain the upper hand. Instead, he was forced into a fluster by Lin Feng and the 3 experts. You sinners' blood descendants should all be killed. Today, this seat will not be entangled with you. This seat will return and report to the Divine Heavenly King. When the time comes, the Divine Heavenly King will personally lead an army and kill you sinners' blood descendants. Yin Quan's voice contained a dense killing intent. This guy knew that he could not kill Lin Feng and the other 3. He also knew that he could not reverse the situation with his own strength. Therefore, Yin Quan planned to leave. He used Total Annihilation, and Demon Venerable Joshua, Mu Tianlang, and Kong Tian were all sent flying. Then, Yin Quan quickly flew into the distance. Seeing Yin Quan escape, Lin Feng began to chant an incantation. After flying 1,000 meters, Yin Quan could not help but let out a mournful scream. His body suddenly swayed, and he almost fell from the sky. Just now, Lin Feng used the Great Curse Art to attack Yin Quan. He originally wanted to use the Great Curse Art to heavily injure Yin Quan's body, but he did not succeed after using it more than 10 times. Therefore, Lin Feng tried to use the Great Curse Art to injure Yin Quan's soul. This time, his attempt actually succeeded. My head. My head. Yin Quan hugged his head and roared in pain. The 3 powerhouses attacked Yin Quan. Yin Quan's eyes turned blood red. He roared furiously, "You all deserve to die. All of you deserve to die." He waved his war spear and attacked the 3 powerhouses. The 3 powerhouses were forced to retreat by Yin Quan. At this moment, Yin Quan had completely entered a berserk state. Therefore, his attack power was very terrifying. In addition, his cultivation level was half a level higher than the 3 powerhouses. Therefore, the 3 powerhouses were in a very bad situation. However, at this moment, Lin Feng drew his bow and shot an arrow. The Sunshot Divine arrow quickly shot toward Yin Quan. The perfect combination of the Hui Bao and the sunshot divine arrow could erupt with unimaginable power. Yin Quan did not dare to be careless when the sunshot divine arrow shot toward him. He waved his war spear and swept it toward the sunshot divine arrow. Clang! The war spear in his hand collided with the sunshot divine arrow. The sunshot divine arrow was sent flying. However, the war spear in Yin Quan's hand was also broken by the terrifying power of the sunshot divine arrow. Yin Quan himself was sent flying. Previously, Lin Feng did not use the sunshot divine arrow. Instead, he used an energy arrow. This was because the ultimate move needed to be used at the most critical moment. Moreover, using the sunshot divine arrow consumed too much of one's body. Lin Feng had been looking for a more suitable opportunity to use the sunshot divine arrow. At this moment, Lin Feng used the sunshot divine arrow. The effect of the sunshot divine arrow made Lin Feng extremely satisfied. Chapter 45-88. The three experts were all very experienced. Therefore, after Yin Quan was sent flying by Lin Feng's sunshot divine arrow, they quickly rushed forward. Yin Quan's strongest point was the state of being one with his spear. His spear technique was profound and unfathomable and incomparably powerful. However, now that his battle spear was destroyed, Yin Quan's combat strength was greatly affected. He held the broken spear and fought with the three experts. Originally, he could suppress the three experts. However, now, with the broken spear, he could only fight to a draw with the three experts. The sunshot divine arrow flew back to Lin Feng's hand. Lin Feng took a deep breath and continued to shoot. The bowstring was pulled into a half-moon shape by Lin Feng. Then, Lin Feng shot out an arrow. The sunshot divine arrow shot towards Yin Quan again. Yin Quan's face was extremely ugly. His battle spear was made of meteoric iron and was extremely sturdy. However, it was broken by the powerful force of the sunshot divine arrow. Therefore, one could imagine how terrifying the power of the sunshot divine arrow was. It was no wonder that any living being shot by the sunshot divine arrow would die instantly. This was because when the sunshot divine arrow pierced through the body, the power of the shock wave was too terrifying. The power of the sunshot divine arrow was enough to instantly destroy the vitality of any living being. Therefore, no one could withstand the attack of the sunshot divine arrow. Facing the attack of the sunshot divine arrow, Yin Quan did not dare to be careless. He swept towards the sunshot divine arrow again. However, this time, Yin Quan performed the supreme limitless spear technique. This spear technique was said to be the supreme spear technique created by Supreme. It was definitely a top-notch spear technique. Therefore, after the sweep of the spear, the power was extremely terrifying. Yin Quan's battle spear collided with Lin Feng's sunshot divine arrow again. Although Yin Quan swept the sunshot divine arrow away this time, he was still injured by the sunshot divine arrow. The power of the sunshot divine arrow was too terrifying. Yin Quan's hands were cracked and blood immediately flowed out. He could not even hold the battle spear anymore. The combination of Ho Yi's bow and sunshot divine arrow really lives up to its reputation. No wonder Hoi could shoot down the sun in the sky back then. Demon Venerable Jiu Shui couldn't help but exclaim. Mu Tianlang and Kong Tian were also shocked because the combination of the Hoi bow and the sun-shooting divine arrow was too powerful. Although the sun-shooting divine arrows were not targeted at them. However, when they felt the terrifying power of the sun-slaying divine arrow, they couldn't help but shudder. Therefore, it was not strange that Yin Quan was injured by the sun-slaying divine arrow. Of course, there was another reason why Yin Quan was injured by the sun-slaying divine arrow. That was because Yin Quan was distracted by the three of them, so he was unable to unleash his full battle prowess in the face of the sun-slaying god arrow. Yin Quan could only use a portion of his battle prowess to deal with the sunshot divine arrow. Everyone, let's get rid of this guy in one go. Lin Feng couldn't help but shout. Hearing this, the three experts nodded and once again attacked Yin Quan. The three of them did not wish to kill Yin Quan. They only wished to distract Yin Quan's mind. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The sun-slaying divine arrow flew out again and again. Lin Feng shot out another 3 arrows. Yin Quan finally couldn't hold on any longer. The battle spear in his hand broke. From this, one could see how terrifying the sun-slaying divine arrow was. Previously, the sun-slaying divine arrow had pierced through those immortal-grade defensive treasures as easily as shooting through a piece of paper. Therefore, it was not strange that the sun-slaying divine arrow could destroy Yin Quan's battle spear. In the end, the sun-slaying divine arrow pierced through Yin Quan's abdomen. Blood immediately gushed out. Yin Quan looked at the huge bloody hole in his abdomen in horror. He opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but no words came out in the end. In the end, Yin Quan laughed bitterly and his corpse fell from the sky. Yin Quan's death was naturally seen by others. Seeing Yin Quan killed, the morale of the Sacred Legion's cultivators fell to the bottom. Lord Yin is dead. Hurry up and run. Some cultivators of the Sacred Legion cried out in horror. Then, the cultivators of the Sacred Legion began to flee. Ha 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 ha, Yin Quan is dead. Brothers, what are we waiting for? Kill the 100,000 cultivators of the Sacred Legion and send them to hell with Yin Quan. Kill all these bastards of the Sacred Legion. Some cultivators on Lin Feng's side shouted. Next, the cultivators of the Sacred Legion chased after the cultivators of the Sacred Legion. The cultivators of the Sacred Legion had already lost their morale. They had no desire to continue fighting and only wanted to escape. However, in the process of fleeing, a large number of them were killed. Whoosh, 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 Lin Feng drew his bow and shot out one arrow after another. Ripping sounds came one after another. A large number of cultivators were pierced through by Lin Feng's arrows. Corpses fell to the ground one after another. In the distance, earth-shaking battle cries could be heard. The Sinner's Blood descendants, Sinner's Blood in-laws, and other cultivators came to help. The fleeing cultivators of the Sacred Legion were stopped by the cultivators who came to help Lin Feng. Originally, the cultivators of the Sacred Legion thought that they could escape, but now, they were once again trapped in a bitter battle. After a fierce battle, the 100,000 cultivators of the Sacred Legion were all killed. Victory! We won! Countless cultivators roared in shock. Then, many people's faces were covered in tears. This was because they thought of their relatives, their ancestors, who had been wantonly slaughtered by the Sacred Legion. They had died so tragically. Now, they could finally avenge them. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The primordial spirits of the gods flew out from the bodies of the Sinner's Blood descendants. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the primordial spirits of the gods. Thank you, seniors. Lin Feng cupped his fists. Thank you, seniors. Everyone followed Lin Feng and thanked the primordial spirits of the gods. We failed back then, but we have never regretted it. Our primordial spirits are about to dissipate, but our minds will not. We hope that you will succeed in protecting this epoch from destruction. We will do our best, Lin Feng said firmly. The primordial spirits nodded. Then, their bodies began to gradually dissipate. Senior, have a safe journey, Lin Feng muttered to himself. As he watched the primordial spirits gradually dissipate, he felt very uncomfortable. The gods had fought to protect this epoch. They had fought bloody battles. They had died 9 times without regrets. Now, even the last of their primordial spirits were about to dissipate, but their descendants didn't even know their names. It was an extremely sorrowful sight. Chapter 45-89. With the origin spirits of the gods dissipating, many people's hearts were extremely heavy. These great seniors had made too many contributions to this era. However, they had been forgotten. It had to be said that this was a very sorrowful matter. Only by working harder to survive could the future generations prove that their sacrifices in the past were worth it. Everyone, those who are willing to fight alongside me, stay, because perhaps soon, the main force of the Sacred Legion will arrive. What kind of situation will it be? It's still unknown. If you're worried, you should leave the Sin City as soon as possible. Lin Feng stood in the void and looked at the surrounding cultivators. We've endured humiliation for so many years that we don't want to live kneeling anymore. Even if we die, we want to die standing. That's right. Even if we die, we want to die standing. Moreover, following the Sinner Blood Emperor doesn't mean that we'll die. We're all willing to follow the Sinner Blood Emperor and fight to the death with the Sacred Legion. Many people couldn't help but shout. The main force of the Sacred Legion guarded the Sin City. They had caused too many massacres in the Sin City. The soil of the Sin City was blood red. Because too many people had died, their blood had merged with the soil of the Sin City. Sinners' blood descendants, sinners' blood in-laws. These people's enmity with the Sacred Legion couldn't be washed away. The other cultivators in the Sin City also had many grievances with the Sacred Legion. For example, some cultivators' relatives and friends were suspected by the Sacred Legion and had their entire families executed. Some cultivators' relatives and friends were bullied by the Sacred Legion and had their entire families executed for the slightest resistance. Such matters were too common. Some cultivators' relatives and friends had powerful treasures, precious resources, or powerful inheritances. When the Sacred Legion found out, the Sacred Legion would directly slander them as sinners' blood descendants and slaughter their entire families. The Sacred Legion had done such things countless times. Thus, countless cultivators in the Sin City had more or less enmity with the Sacred Legion for various reasons. Lin Feng said, "Since everyone has decided to stay in the Sin City to fight against the Sacred Legion, let's clean up the battlefield. Collect the storage rings of the Sacred Legion's cultivators and reward everyone with everything inside. As for their corpses, move them all outside the city and burn them." Yes, many people immediately responded. Lin Feng looked at Demon Master Jiushui, Mu Tianlang, Kong Tian, and the other experts and said, "Thank you for coming to help. It's not a good place to talk outside. Let's talk inside." After exchanging some pleasantries, they followed Lin Feng to the living room of the ancestral mansion. 3 heavenly immortals, many earthen immortals, human immortals, and loose immortals arrived. There were so many of them that there were about 300 of them. I plan to form an alliance called the Sinner's Blood Alliance. What do you all think? Lin Feng asked the crowd. Of course, there's no problem. I personally agree. Demon Venerable Jiushui said. Mu Tianlang nodded and said, I also agree with Brother Lin. Kong Tian said, this old man has no objections. Since the 3 sky immortal experts had no objections, the rest of the people naturally had no objections either. Furthermore, the sinner's blood descendants, the sinner's blood in-laws, had been suppressed for too many years. The casualties were so severe that their hatred burned like a volcano that was about to erupt. At this point, he could no longer tolerate it. It was just as some of the cultivators had said, rather than live on their knees, rather die standing. Of course, there was another important reason that made everyone stand out bravely. That was, now that the apocalypse had arrived, the Armageddon War could come at any time. Rather than slowly waiting for death, it was better to fight with all their might. In particular, everyone had heard that Lin Feng's father was someone who inherited the fate of an era. As Lin Feng was Lin Baiyan's son, he must also be someone who inherited the fate of an era. Therefore, follow Lin Feng. If they could win, Lin Feng would create a whole new situation in the Undying Realm. They could be considered senior figures by Lin Feng's side. When the Armageddon War arrived, they would need someone like Lin Feng, who inherited the fate of an era, to lead them to survive. Lin Feng said, since no one has any objections, the Sinner's Blood Alliance is established today. We will now elect a person with both ability and integrity to be the leader of the Sinner's Blood Alliance. He will lead everyone to fight against the Sacred Army and the Heavenly Court. Everyone can express their own opinions. Demon Supremacy Jiushui said, I recommend Little Brother Lin to be the leader. Little Brother Lin has the Sinner's Blood Emperor's blood, the royal family of the Sinner's blood. His bloodline is pure, and he is the most qualified. This is the first reason. In addition, Little Brother Lin is someone who inherited the fate of an era. Moreover, he is talented and powerful. In the future, he will definitely shine in the Armageddon War. This is the second reason. Little Brother Lin is courageous, brave, and wise. He will definitely be able to bring glory to the Sinner's Blood Alliance. This is the third reason. Combining these 3 points, I think Little Brother Lin is most suitable to be the leader of the Sinner's Blood Alliance. Mu Tianlang nodded and said, I also agree with Demon Supremacy Jiushui's opinion. I also recommend little brother Lin to be the leader of the Sinner's Blood Alliance. Kong Tian smiled and said, "It is natural for the Sinner's Blood Emperor to be the leader of the Sinner's Blood Alliance. It is also what everyone wants. We also support little brother Lin to be the leader." That's right, we have no objections. After the three Heaven Immortals expressed their opinions, many Earth Immortals also expressed their opinions. Lin Feng being the leader of the Sinner's Blood Alliance was indeed what everyone wanted. Therefore, Lin Feng was unanimously approved. Lin Feng said, "Many thanks for everyone's great support. Since everyone has recommended me to be the leader of the Sinner's Blood Alliance, I will definitely lead the Sinner's Blood Alliance to glory. Apart from the leader, I also suggest that we establish 5 deputy leaders. What do you all think?" Naturally, no one had any objections. After a round of discussion, the 5 deputy leaders were Demon Supremacy Jiu Shui, Mu Tianlang, Kong Tian, Jiang Imo, and Xin Xiong. Of the 5 deputy leaders, Lin Feng knew Demon Supremacy Jiu Shui, Mu Tianlang, Kong Tian, and Jiang Imo. Lin Feng did not know Xin Xiong, but it was said that he was a descendant of war god Xing Tian. His identity was also extraordinary. Next, Lin Feng planned to strengthen the grand formation of the Sinner's capital. He had previously observed the situation of the Sinner's capital. There were many ancient grand formations, but they were all broken. They could not be used. However, if he could repair them, they would be very useful. If the Sacred Army attacked, the grand formations would be very useful. When the time came, he would only need to activate the grand formation. If the Sacred Army wanted to break the grand formation, they would have to pay an extremely heavy price to do so. Chapter 4590. What happened in the capital of Sin quickly spread throughout the undying realm as if it had grown wings. It caused a huge uproar. The Sinner Emperor had appeared. The Sinner's blood had appeared. This was definitely something that could shake the undying realm. Over the years, the undying realm had been suppressing the Sinner's blood descendants. They killed every sinner they saw. Many people even thought that the Sinner's blood descendants were on the verge of extinction. But now, they knew. There were still many Sinner's blood descendants alive. The news has been confirmed. The Sinner Emperor is Lin Baiyan's son, Lin Feng. What? Lin Baiyan's son? He's actually that person's son? He's an existence that can't be mentioned. That's right. His rise back then was too fast. He was too terrifying. I once saw him kill a terrifying being from a foreign world with a single move. That's an existence that can contend against a true immortal. You can't understand how I felt back then. After Di Wudao plotted against Lin Baiyan, he disappeared without a trace. Now that his son has appeared in the Undying Realm, I wonder if Lin Baiyan has also appeared in the Undying Realm. That's possible. His son is standing in the light while he's hiding in the dark. If the father and son work together, they can definitely do something shocking. Actually, I received some news that Lin Baiyan is not in the Undying Realm. Only his son is in the Undying Realm. Is the news accurate? It should be. The news came from the Celestial Emperor Palace. Even if Lin Feng isn't in the Undying Realm, he should have a powerful protector by his side. I'm not sure. Regardless of whether he has a protector or not, Lin Feng is still an extremely terrifying existence. Although he's young, his battle prowess is heaven-defying. In addition, he obtained the Hoi Bao and Sunslaying Divine Arrows. His battle prowess is unfathomable. If he goes all out, even a quasi-true immortal would die under the attack of the sun-shooting Divine Arrow. Lin Feng has formed the Sinner's Blood Alliance in the capital of Sin. The Sinner's Blood descendants, Sinner's Blood in-laws, and other factions have elected him as the alliance leader. It seems like Lin Feng is planning to fight to the death against the sacred army stationed in the sinful realm. I don't think they will fight to the death anytime soon. What do you mean? Shouldn't the sacred army take advantage of the fact that Lin Feng's wings are not fully fledged, and pressure the border with a large army is the best choice? If we wait until Lin Feng gets stronger, it will be much more difficult to destroy the Sinner's Blood Alliance. How much do you know about Divine Heavenly King? This is a true immortal expert. His strength is unfathomable. He is deeply trusted by the Celestial Emperor. You guys still don't know enough about the Divine Heavenly King. The divine heavenly king is a cautious person. His personality is naturally an excellent advantage, especially for us cultivators. Only by being cautious can we survive in the world of cultivators. Those careless cultivators will definitely die a miserable death. This advantage is naturally extremely outstanding when it appears on a single cultivator, but if it appears on the commander of an army, it may not necessarily be an advantage. Why do you say that? Everyone, think about it. As a cautious person, the divine heavenly king will definitely have many misgivings before moving to Sin Capital. He will definitely investigate whether Lin Feng has the backing of a peak expert. He will also investigate the approximate strength of Lin Feng before taking action, and investigating these matters will obviously take a lot of time. As a commander, if he wants to win by surprise, he will need to take risks. However, the cautious divine heavenly king is not willing to take risks, so his personality determines his way of doing things. Brother, now that you mention it, we also feel that this is the case. I wonder how things will develop from here on out. I actually hope that Lin Feng can lead the Sinner's Blood Alliance to rise again. These years, the Sinner's Blood Alliance and its in-laws have been persecuted truly infuriating. At this very moment, countless cultivators in the various large domains of the Undying Realm were discussing what had happened in Sin Capital. The various large powers were quietly observing the changes, intending to sit on the mountain and watch the tigers fight. As for the rogue cultivators, they were just waiting to watch the show. However, there were also some who, after hearing about what had happened in Sin Capital, were moved to tears. Then, those cultivators rushed towards Sin Capital. Those cultivators were basically the Sinner's blood descendants and Sinner's in-laws who were hiding in various places. Now, the Sinner's Blood Alliance had rebelled. They finally saw hope. Even if they died in battle, they also wanted to join the Sinner's Blood Alliance. It could be said that the appearance of the Sinner's Blood Emperor completely changed the situation in the Undying Realm. Heavenly Court, Crown Prince Palace. Di Wudao also received news of what had happened in Sin Capital. Bang! He directly smashed a vase into pieces. Trash. What trash? An army of 100,000 was actually annihilated. The Sinner's blood descendants and Sinner's in-laws have also appeared. Are all the subordinates of the divine heavenly king so trash? So many people joined forces to quickly kill Lin Feng. How could such a thing happen? Di Wudao roared with incomparable anger. He was angry, he was jealous, he was afraid, and he was worried. Lin Feng's rise was too fast, and this was the thing he did not want to see the most. Back then, he had pretended to be loyal in front of Lin Baitian. Could it be that he was going to be trampled under the feet of Lin Baitian's son now? The Mirror of Future said, I heard. That kid broke the attack of an army of 100,000. What? Hearing this, Di Wudao's hand suddenly trembled. How is that possible? He could not help but ask. That was an army of 100,000. If they attacked together, killing Lin Feng would not be a problem, right? Now, Lin Feng had actually broken the attack of 100,000. How could Di Wudao accept this fact? The Mirror of Future said, this is indeed the truth. For some reason, this guy can actually unleash the power of Ho Yi's Bao and Sunslang Divine Arrow. That's why he was able to block the attack of the army of 100,000. Of course, if the army of 100,000 continued to attack him, he would still be killed by them. However, he did not give them a chance to attack again. He shot a cloud-piercing arrow and summoned his allies. Then, the Sinner's blood descendants, Sinner's blood in-laws, and many cultivators who had a grudge against the divine heavenly king army responded to his call. In the end, the army of 100,000 was annihilated. Di Wudao's expression was extremely gloomy. He asked, what's the situation with the Blood Hell Assassin dynasty? Haven't they made their move yet? How long are they going to wait? The Mirror of Future said awkwardly, the Blood Hell Assassin dynasty has already made their move, but their first assassination attempt failed. Di Wudao's mouth twitched violently. Chapter 4591. Previously, the Mirror of Future had confidently told Di Wudao how powerful and terrifying the Blood Hell Assassin dynasty was. Once the Blood Hell Assassin dynasty made a move, Lin Feng would definitely die. Di Wudao trusted the Mirror of Future quite a bit, so he believed everything the Mirror of Future had said. However, the reality made Di Wudao extremely angry. Lin Feng was completely fine, and the Mirror of Future had exaggerated the Blood Hell Assassin Dynasty's assassination attempt had failed. Now, Di Wudao really wanted to smash the Mirror of Future. Of course, the Mirror of Future was also quite embarrassed. Who asked this fellow to boast so much about the Blood Hell Assassin Dynasty? Now that the Blood Hell Assassin Dynasty had failed to assassinate Lin Feng, it was like a slap to his face. This slap was really painful. The Mirror of Future said, "This time, the Blood Hell Assassin Dynasty was careless because the cultivators they sent were only apprentice assassins. That led to the failure of the mission." What? Apprentice assassins? What does the Blood Hell Assassin Dynasty mean? The person I, Di Wudao, want to kill, they actually only sent apprentice assassins? Are they looking down on me? Di Wudao could not help but say angrily. The Blood Hell Assassin Dynasty had only sent apprentice assassins to assassinate Lin Feng. This meant that the Blood Hell Assassin Dynasty did not care about Lin Feng. Moreover, Lin Feng was someone they wanted to kill. If not for the fact that Di Wudao was in seclusion, he would have done it himself. In Di Wudao's opinion, if the Blood Hell Assassin Dynasty looked down on the person he wanted to kill, wasn't that the same as looking down on him? Di Wudao was a person who cared a lot about his face. Of course, he was furious. The Mirror of Future said, "Your Highness, the Blood Hell Assassin Dynasty did not look down on Your Highness. Please calm down. The Blood Hell Assassin Dynasty has sent even more powerful assassins to assassinate Lin Feng. The apprentice assassins' methods were not good, but the real assassins from the Blood Hell Assassin Dynasty are extremely terrifying. Perhaps their combat strength is not at the level of an absolute expert, but their killing and concealment techniques are unparalleled in the world. Even cultivators who cultivate the Tao of Space will not be able to detect them. Therefore, when their killing and concealment techniques are combined, Lin Feng won't even know what happened. Who knows, he might have been killed by those assassins." After hearing the Mirror of Future's explanation, Di Wudao's expression looked a little better. He said, "I hope they won't disappoint me this time." The Mirror of Future said, "Of course, this time. The top assassins of the Blood Prison Assassin Dynasty will never disappoint Your Highness." Lin Feng did not know that Di Wudao was plotting against him. Even if he knew, Lin Feng would not take it to heart. At this moment, Lin Feng was repairing the Great Array of Sin City. Zhang Yimou was also an array master. He and dozens of spiritual array masters helped Lin Feng repair the Great Array. Therefore, the Great Array was repaired very quickly. These spiritual array masters had been studying the art of spiritual array for at least 700,000 to 800,000 years. Some had been studying it for 3 to 4 million years. However, at this moment, these top spiritual array masters looked at Lin Feng with admiration. As the saying went, the one who reached the top was the teacher. Although Lin Feng was young, his attainments in the art of spiritual array shocked them. In front of Lin Feng, even the best spiritual array masters couldn't compare to him. Zhang Yimou was the most powerful spiritual array master among all the spiritual array masters. Therefore, he was of great help to Lin Feng. It took more than a month for the Great Array of Sin City to be completely repaired. The Great Array of Sin City was once again impregnable. Every day, more and more experts came. More and more sinners' bloodline, sinners' blood-in-laws, or those who had enmity with the Sacred Army or the Heavenly Court came to join Lin Feng. With the arrival of these cultivators, the sinners' blood alliance's strength continued to increase. This made Lin Feng very happy. Lin Feng thought about the matter of the map. Although he knew that it was most likely fake, he did not believe it. Lin Feng was still very interested in Zhang Mo's story. Lin Feng found Zhang Mo and said, "What you said about the lightning core, was it really just a story you made up? Was it just to sell those fake maps?" Zhang Mo said, "Alliance Master, everything I said is true." "What? It's all true?" Lin Feng could not help but be shocked. Zhang Yimou nodded and said, "Regardless of whether it's the map, the lightning core, or the legends about the map and the lightning core, they are all true. However, the map is not complete. I used the original map to imprint many new maps. Then, I sold those maps in order to find fated people. Do you still have the original map? Lin Feng asked. Yes, Zhang Yimou said. He then took out a sheepskin map. When Lin Feng saw the sheepskin map, he could not help but raise his brows slightly. The sheepskin map was clearly the original map. Zhang Yimou handed the map to Lin Feng and said, "This is the original map. Please take a look, Alliance Master." Lin Feng opened the map and looked at it carefully. He found that the map was extremely old. A part of it was indeed missing. Therefore, he could not use the incomplete map to find the lightning core's location. Lin Feng asked, "How did you get this map?" "I found it in a Tao scripture passed down by my ancestors." "The map is in the Tao scripture," Zhang Yimou said. "Was it already incomplete when it was first discovered?" Lin Feng asked. Zhang Yimou nodded. Lin Feng continued asking, "After so many years, you did not find any clues?" Zhang Yimou smiled bitterly and said, "Yes. Perhaps it is because this subordinate is not fated to have this map. If the Alliance Master likes this map, this subordinate will give it to you." "Many thanks," Lin Feng said. "Alliance Master is too polite." Zhang Yimou smiled. The two chatted for a while, more before Zhang Yimou left. Lin Feng studied the map in his room. He tried to use his divine sense to investigate the secrets of the map, but Lin Feng was unable to find anything. Next, Lin Feng dripped his blood to refine the map. However, the map did not absorb his blood. The map could not be refined with his blood. This meant that the map was not a treasure. Swoosh! With a flash of light, the heart compass appeared in Lin Feng's hand. "Great immortal Sage Martin, come out. Let's talk," Lin Feng said to the heart compass. "Why are you looking for me?" Great immortal Sage Martin emerged from the heart compass. Lin Feng said, "See if you can use this map to find the lightning core's location." Update 10 continues in the afternoon. Looking for monthly votes and recommendation tickets. Chapter 4592. Sage Martin glanced at the map and said, "Of course, no problem. But, you know our rules. If you want to know the answer, you have to pay the price." "What's the price for divining the lightning core?" Lin Feng could not help but frown. "I'll give you a choice. First, sacrifice 90 million years of your lifespan to the heart plate." Before Sage Martin could say the second condition, Lin Feng was already rolling his eyes. He only had 90 million years of lifespan, yet Sage Martin wanted him to sacrifice 90 million years of his lifespan. If he really sacrificed 90 million years of his lifespan, he would only have a few million years of lifespan left. Of course, this was not the most important thing. The most important thing was that if a cultivator sacrificed their lifespan, it would cause harm to their body. The more lifespan sacrificed, the greater the damage to the body. 90 million years of lifespan. How much damage would it cause to the body? It was very likely that it would cause great damage to the body, and in the end, cause one's cultivation to be unable to progress. Therefore, Lin Feng would not even consider sacrificing his lifespan. Sage Martin continued, "The second method is that you have to promise me to go to a place." "Go to a place? What place?" Lin Feng could not help but ask in confusion. "The wasteland," Sage Martin said. When he said the words wasteland, his tone clearly fluctuated violently. Clearly, something unknown must have happened to Sage Martin in the wasteland. Lin Feng was not unfamiliar with the wasteland, as he had heard about it too many times. However, to be honest, the wasteland was still full of mysteries to Lin Feng. Lin Feng only knew that there were many strong cultivators in the wasteland, and that it was a cruel world. In that world, even titled gods could die at any time. Moreover, because that world was connected to the three paramount realms and the foreign lands, the experts from both realms would head to the wasteland. In particular, the experts from the foreign lands could freely enter the wasteland, and everyone knew how powerful and ferocious the experts from the foreign lands were. Therefore, if one did not have the strength to enter the wasteland, it would be suicide. He wouldn't live for more than 3 days. This was the best way to describe the situation of ordinary cultivators heading to the wasteland. Lin Feng said, "All right, I can promise you that." Hee, don't agree so early, because when the time comes, you are about to enter the forbidden zone of the wasteland. That place, It's a place that even the ruler of the wasteland doesn't dare to set foot in. The sacred Martin Immortal said with a strange smile, "Life Forbidden Zone? Is it a land of death?" Lin Feng asked with a frown. No, no, no. The Deathly Danger Zone is the Deathly Danger Zone. The Deathly Danger Zone is the Deathly Danger Zone. Great Immortal Sage Martin said, but the names sound similar. Lin Feng said. Great Immortal Sage Martin said, you don't know this, but there is a huge difference between the Death Zone and the Life Zone. Although many people call the Deathly Danger Zone a Deathly Danger Zone, these people don't know that the Deathly Danger Zone can't be called a Deathly Danger Zone. The Deathly Danger Zone is called a Deathly Danger Zone. At this point, Great Immortal Sage Martin paused for a moment, as if to organize his words. Then, he continued, the Deathly Danger Zone has a special law that prevents the mastermind from entering. Therefore, some experts in the past hid in the Deathly Danger Zone in order to survive. Lin Feng nodded. He already knew this. Great Immortal Sage Martin continued, the Deathly Danger Zone is different. That place is not a sanctuary. The danger of that place is unimaginable. The Deathly Danger Zone has even buried the mastermind behind it. Hiss! Lin Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath. That news was earth-shattering. The Deathly Danger Zone was actually so terrifying. It was too inconceivable. It was too terrifying. If that was the case, who would dare to enter the Deathly Danger Zone? What was the difference between that and suicide? Lin Feng finally understood why the Deathly Danger Zone was called a Deathly Danger Zone. A Deathly Danger Zone that no living being could enter. That was the origin of the Deathly Danger Zone. Is it really that terrifying? Lin Feng asked in disbelief. The main reason was that Great Immortal Sage Martin's words were too frightening. It was unbelievable. Anyone who heard this would find it unbelievable. The Deathly Danger Zone was already terrifying enough. No one dared to enter the Deathly Danger Zone. However, the Deathly Danger Zone. It seemed even more terrifying than the Deathly Danger Zone. Of course it is. Great Immortal Sage Martin said. Actually, in my opinion, some of the scariest Deathly Danger Zones are the Deathly Danger Zones. Those are the Deathly Danger Zones. Great Immortal Sage Martin clearly had a lingering fear when he mentioned the top Deathly Danger Zones. Lin Feng couldn't help but ask in confusion, didn't you just say that the Deathly Danger Zones are different from the Deathly Danger Zones? Yes, they are indeed different. What I mean is that some of the top Deathly Danger Zones are more or less the same as the Deathly Danger Zones, which is why some people believe that some of the top Deathly Danger Zones are actually Deathly Danger Zones. However, although there are many similarities, there are definitely some differences. It's just that these things aren't known to outsiders. Lin Feng took a deep breath and asked, then do you know who created the Deathly Danger Zones and Deathly Danger Zones? What? Do you want to know? Great Immortal Sage Martin looked at Lin Feng with a faint smile. The Deathly Danger Zone has buried the mastermind, but the Deathly Danger Zone is a Deathly Danger Zone. I am indeed very interested in the origins of these two places, Lin Feng said. Great Immortal Sage Martin shrugged and said, what a pity. I can't answer you even if you want to know, because I don't know either. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel speechless. He had the urge to slap Great Immortal Sage Martin away right now. You don't know, yet you're acting like you do. You're really asking for a beating. Lin Feng's heart trembled, and he continued. You said that the Deathly Danger Zone has buried the mastermind. What's going on? Isn't the mastermind still alive and well? Great Immortal Sage Martin said. Do you think the mastermind is a single person? Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. Before this, he had indeed thought so. Great Immortal Sage Martin said, the mastermind's strength varies, but they're not the same person. Lin Feng recalled that his ancestor, Ji Zishu, had died while trying to kill the mastermind. He continued, I heard that the mastermind is undying and indestructible. It seems like no one can kill them. This statement should be correct, but it doesn't mean that there is no way to kill them. Cultivators may not be able to kill them, but there are some special things or places that can kill the mastermind behind the scenes. For example, the Life Forbidden Zone that we just mentioned. Chapter 4593. So that's how it is. Lin Feng could not help but nod. The Marten asked, "Now that you have a certain understanding of the Forbidden Zone, do you still agree to my conditions?" This, Lin Feng could not help but hesitate. It was no wonder that Lin Feng would hesitate. The Forbidden Zone was simply too terrifying. Such a place. Only death awaited him if he entered. It's normal for you to be afraid. I'm not counting on you to not be afraid, the Marten said indifferently, looking at Lin Feng with incomparable contempt. What's there to be afraid of? If a man dies, his bird will face the sky. The Forbidden Zone is indeed terrifying. However, it might not be able to bury me. Moreover, by the time I head to the wasteland, my cultivation will have definitely reached an extremely high level. There's no need for me to be afraid of the Forbidden Zone's dangers. Lin Feng sneered. The Marten said, "It's good to have ideals, beliefs, and confidence. However, there are times when you have to recognize the truth. Have you heard of the saying, 'The ignorant are fearless'? I think this saying is quite suitable for you." Lin Feng was speechless. The Marten's mouth was really asking for a beating. Lin Feng said, "I believe that man can conquer the heavens. Even if it's a forbidden zone, I will walk a path of life in there. Since that's the case, I look forward to it. If you survive, it will be beneficial for both of us," the Marten said. "Then it's settled. Can you help me deduce the location of the lightning core now? However, let's make things clear first. If you can't help me deduce the location of the lightning core, our previous agreement will not be valid," Lin Feng said. The Marten nodded and said, "Of course. If you can't deduce it, I won't be able to make a deal with you." As soon as it finished speaking, the needle on the heart compass began to spin rapidly. The countless runes on the heart compass came to life. The densely packed runes were rearranged and reassembled. As the runes rearranged themselves, the needle of the heart compass spun faster and faster. Lin Feng didn't know the theory behind the heart compass, but it was indeed heaven-defying. The power it displayed shocked Lin Feng, but this time, the heart compass deduction seemed to have run into trouble. Because he had tried to deduce it many times, he still hadn't succeeded. The heart plate stopped. Great immortal sage Marten frowned and said, "This shouldn't be the case. This really shouldn't be the case. Why can't we deduce it? What went wrong?" Lin Feng couldn't help but be extremely shocked. Even the heart compass couldn't deduce it. Was the lightning core hidden so deeply? Although Lin Feng really wanted to use the heart compass to deduce the location of the lightning core, Lin Feng didn't want to do so. But when he saw great immortal sage Marten's gloomy expression, Lin Feng didn't forget to attack this guy. Who asked this guy to mock him before? Lin Feng said, "It seems that your level is only a..." Great sage Marten said angrily, "Kid, what are you saying? What did he mean by that? Say it clearly." Lin Feng said, "What I mean is that your level is very high, much higher than the average person." Great sage Marten was so angry that he suddenly had the urge to bite Lin Feng to death. He said, "Kid, don't look down on me. Later, I will let you know how powerful I, Great Sage Marten, am." Great Sage Marten immediately hid his figure. Next, a mysterious voice came from the heart compass. The voice seemed to be chanting an incantation. However, Lin Feng couldn't understand what the incantation meant. It was an extremely ancient language, and Lin Feng was hearing it for the first time. It seemed that Great Sage Marten was about to use his trump card. The heart compass was rumored to be so awesome. As the spirit of the heart compass, Great Sage Marten definitely had some hidden trump cards. Author's note: although Great Sage Marten didn't admit that he was the spirit of the heart compass, and Great Sage Marten had told Lin Feng that the spirit of the heart compass belonged to someone else. However, Lin Feng didn't believe Great Sage Marten's words. After the incantations were chanted, the runes on the heart plate awakened again, and a gray-brown gas gushed out of the heart plate. The gray-brown gas wrapped around the heart plate. Lin Feng couldn't see the exact situation of the heart compass. He waited at the side. About an hour later, the deduction of the heart compass was finally completed. Great Sage Marten appeared again. He looked at Lin Feng condescendingly and said, "Kid, you should kneel on the ground and worship me." Lin Feng said, "I feel that I should give you a punch and let you know how powerful a fist bigger than a bean bun is." Great Sage Marten was speechless. He hadn't recovered his strength yet. Therefore, After hearing Lin Feng's pretentious words, he could only sulk. He couldn't teach Lin Feng a lesson now. If they really fought, it would be Lin Feng who beat him up. Great Sage Martin said, "I have always been magnanimous and will repay evil with good. Therefore, I won't bicker with you." Lin Feng curled his lips. Great Sage Martin was definitely a thick-skinned fellow. To put it bluntly, he was shameless. Lin Feng couldn't be bothered to bicker with Great Sage Martin. He asked, "Have you deduced the location of the lightning core?" "Of course." Great Sage Martin nodded proudly. "Where is it?" Lin Feng's eyes lit up. "Underground." Great Sage Martin said, "Of course underground. They are already dead. If they aren't underground, are they flying in the sky?" Lin Feng said speechlessly. Great Sage Martin said, "I mean, they are underground in the Sin City." "What? They are underground in the Sin City?" Lin Feng's face couldn't help but reveal an extremely shocked expression. He simply couldn't believe his ears. "That's right. They are underground in the Sin City. Although there is an extremely powerful force hindering me from finding the location of the lightning core, who do you think I am? You must be dreaming if you think you can stop me from finding the lightning core." Lin Feng directly threw the heart compass into the space-time continuum. He didn't have the time to listen to Great Sage Martin's nonsense. Lin Feng used the Earth Escape technique and dived into the ground. The Earth Escape technique that Lin Feng used was the Great Earth Escape technique of the Great Five Elements art. It was an Earth Escape technique recorded in the 3000 Great Tao. Therefore, this Earth Escape technique was extremely heaven-defying. After Lin Feng used this Earth Escape technique, the surrounding soil automatically parted to the sides. Lin Feng quickly dived into the depths. 8,000 meters, 10,000 meters, 30,000 meters, 50,000 meters, 100,000 meters. Lin Feng dived to a depth of 100,000 meters, but he still couldn't find the lightning core. Lin Feng didn't give up and continued to dive. 110,000 meters, 120,000 meters, 140,000 meters. When Lin Feng dived to a depth of 150,000 meters, he suddenly felt a dense killing intent enveloping his body. 12th update. Chapter 4594. After sensing that terrifying aura, Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. There was definitely a terrifying existence in the vicinity, and that terrifying existence must have its eyes on him. Lin Feng increased his speed and continued to dive downwards. Lin Feng wanted to quickly leave that area, but he did not succeed. Because as Lin Feng dived downwards, the surrounding sand and rocks parted and a terrifying existence rushed out. This was a terrifying corpse. Its sharp claws were about half a meter long. This corpse had already awakened its spiritual awareness. Its eyes flickered with a pale green light. Previously, it had been cultivating in the depths of the earth. When Lin Feng appeared in the depths of the earth, it sensed Lin Feng's aura. This terrifying existence treated Lin Feng as its food, so it launched an attack on Lin Feng. Lin Feng's reaction was extremely fast. Facing the corpse's terrifying attack, a light flashed on his fist, and the world-terminating glove appeared. The corpse had already arrived in front of Lin Feng. It wanted to kill Lin Feng at close range. This was because the corpse's physical body was very strong and its claws contained corpse poison. Therefore, the corpse liked to use close-range combat to deal with its opponents. As long as he gently scratched the other party's skin, the powerful corpse poison would continuously enter the other party's body through the skin. At that time, the poisoned person would die a very miserable death. The corpse had already formed a relatively complete spiritual consciousness, so everything was calculated extremely well. However, this was also what Lin Feng wanted, because Lin Feng also liked close-range combat. Close-range combat coupled with the world-terminating glove, it would definitely be able to explode with a terrifying battle strength. Clang! Lin Feng clenched his right fist. His fist collided with the corpse's sharp claws. The corpse's sharp claws scratched the world-terminating glove, and sparks instantly appeared. Although the corpse's claws were sharp, they were unable to break through the world-terminating glove's powerful defensive power. "It's my turn." Lin Feng's voice was indifferent as he threw a punch at the corpse. The strength of the 6 times dragon elephant arm was completely unleashed, and it instantly arrived in front of the Een corpse. The Een corpse crossed its arms in front of its body, blocking Lin Feng's terrifying attack. Lin Feng's powerful punch landed on the Een corpse's arms, and the Een corpse was sent flying. Then, the Een corpse's body sank into the soil and disappeared without a trace. However, Lin Feng could sense that the Een corpse had not retreated. It was still lurking in the dark, eyeing him covetously. Lin Feng's eyes flashed with coldness. It seemed like the Een corpses were really persistent. Now that they had completely locked onto him, it seemed like they didn't plan on leaving. Rumble, rumble. The ground shook violently as dozens of stone giants appeared. They all threw themselves at Lin Feng. Lin Feng looked at the stone giants in front of him. Those rock giants were very powerful. They weren't real living beings, but were formed by magical powers. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. That Een corpse actually knew magical powers. It seemed like his transformation was extraordinary. A group of rock giants surrounded him. Lin Feng was fearless as he charged at the rock giants. Bang, bang, bang. Lin Feng and the group of rock giants engaged in a fierce battle. The strength of the 6 times dragon elephant arm in addition to the terrifying power of the world-terminating glove. The bodies of the rock giants were directly shattered. However, Lin Feng didn't dare to be careless because he felt that the Een corpse might attack him at any time. Therefore, he had to be careful. The Een corpse's cultivation was very strong. If the Een corpse's sneak attack succeeded, the consequences would be unimaginable. After the dozens of rock giants were killed by Lin Feng noticed that the Een corpse's aura was quickly leaving. This guy actually left. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. He was very surprised that the Een corpse had actually left. He originally thought that the Een corpse would attack him again. Could it be that the Een corpse felt that he wasn't easy to deal with, so he didn't want to fight to the death with him? Ordinary Een corpses led their actions when they killed, so ordinary Een corpses naturally wouldn't think so much. However, the Een corpse that Lin Feng encountered this time was very extraordinary. Its intelligence was extremely profound. This made Lin Feng think of the evil Dominator Saint. The Een corpse's transformation was different from the transformation of other races. The Een corpse was formed from the body of a dead expert. Their bodies would gradually petrify and become incomparably hard. In the end, they would become as hard as a zombie's body. The transformation of the physical body was carried out imperceptibly, but what restricted the Een corpse's future development was not the transformation of the physical body, but the transformation of the soul. Because the Een corpse had already fallen, it was extremely difficult for the corpse to transform into a spiritual consciousness. Even if it transformed into a spiritual consciousness, it would usually be dominated by the will to kill. This kind of Een corpse, no matter how strong it was, its growth wouldn't be too high. In other words, this kind of Een corpse, its cultivation would basically stop moving forward. The truly powerful ones were those Een corpses whose spiritual consciousness had completely transformed. They had an extremely perfect consciousness, could perfectly control their body, and could also perfectly control their emotions. This kind of Een corpse was almost no different from a cultivator. This kind of Een corpse, even if their cultivation wasn't particularly strong at the beginning, they could quickly increase their cultivation. For example, the evil Dominator Saint belonged to this kind of Een corpse. The Een corpse that just attacked Lin Feng belonged to this kind of Een corpse, but that Een corpse just now was much stronger than the evil Dominator Saint. When the evil Dominator Saint first completed its transformation, it was only in the half-step Emperor realm, but the Een corpse just now was extremely profound. It was at least in the celestial immortal realm. In the future, it might even become a true immortal realm Een corpse. However, since the Een corpse left, Lin Feng didn't pay attention to it anymore. He quickly went down. Not long after, Lin Feng saw a huge pitch-black stone. That huge pitch-black stone was densely covered with runes. Moreover, Lin Feng sensed the Een corpse's aura from that huge pitch-black stone. However, the Een corpse was no longer here. This is the place where the Een corpse cultivates. This stone is very extraordinary. But why didn't the Een corpse take this stone away? Lin Feng looked at that huge pitch-black stone and couldn't help but feel extremely puzzled. He didn't repeatedly think about this matter. Then, Lin Feng tried to put that huge pitch-black stone into the time-space. However, that huge, pitch-black stone emitted a terrifying fluctuation. A terrifying wave of energy crashed onto Lin Feng's body and sent him flying away. Chapter 4595. Lin Feng was extremely shocked because the stone was so extraordinary. It was unbelievable that it could sweep him away. It was hard to imagine how heaven-defying the stone was. Of course, Lin Feng didn't suffer any injuries even though he was swept away by the black stone. Lin Feng didn't suffer any injuries. It wouldn't be easy for that black stone to injure his body. After all, Lin Feng was no longer the weak youth from Sangaren City. Lin Feng could be considered an overlord now. What kind of runes are those? I can feel the terrifying power contained in them. I wonder what kind of heaven and earth profundity they contain. That Yin corpse is so powerful because of the strange runes on the pitch-black stone, right? Lin Feng couldn't help but ponder. He tried to sense the strange runes on the black stone. When Lin Feng's divine sense came into contact with the runes, Lin Feng felt as if there was an invisible force trying to pull him into endless darkness. It was a terrible feeling. The world of darkness was like a world of death. As expected, those talismans were strange. Surprisingly, they had such a terrifying power. Lin Feng couldn't help but be astonished. Of course, fortunately, Lin Feng's willpower was strong enough. He had successfully broken free from the world of darkness. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. What was going on with that world of darkness? Lin Feng felt that the runes seemed to be able to come into contact with the world of darkness and bury the soul of a cultivator there. It sounded a little unbelievable, but the feeling was very strong. Lin Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath. He frowned slightly. The extraordinariness of the black stone shocked him. The next thing he had to think about was how to collect it. Lin Feng tried to collect the black stone a second time, but the situation was exactly the same as before. Terrifying fluctuations surged out from the black stone, and those fluctuations sent Lin Feng flying. I really can't collect this black stone, Lin Feng frowned. He didn't want to give up because that pitch-black stone was too extraordinary. If he could obtain that pitch-black stone, he would be able to find something amazing. He was still wondering why the Yin corpse didn't collect the black stone when it left. Now, he finally understood why. It wasn't that the Yin corpse didn't want to collect it. It was that the Yin corpse couldn't collect it. Lin Feng couldn't help but ponder. He was naturally unwilling to leave like this, so Lin Feng still wanted to try to collect it. However, he couldn't think of a way at the moment. Yeah. At this time, Bibi flew out and started baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. You're saying that Little Black can communicate with the black stone? Lin Feng looked at Bibi in surprise. Bibi immediately nodded. Little Black, come out. Lin Feng transmitted a message to Little Black, but Little Black ignored Lin Feng. This guy had been following Bibi in the starry sky world. It had always been quite cold towards Lin Feng. Moreover, it didn't like the name Little Black, but its resistance was futile. In the end, it could only use this name. This time, Lin Feng asked Little Black to come out, but Little Black wouldn't come out no matter what. This made Lin Feng quite depressed. Lin Feng couldn't be so calculative with a cub, could he? Bibi entered the time-space and grabbed Little Black's tail to drag it out. Little Black was extremely angry. It opened its mouth and bit at Bibi. One had to know that Little Black's battle strength was extremely terrifying. It controlled the power of darkness and death. Bibi didn't fight with Little Black. Instead, it quickly retreated. Then, it waved its little claws at Little Black and kept barking. Lin Feng could understand the meaning of Bibi's words. It was persuading Little Black to help him. Lin Feng felt a little emotional. Bibi was still the most considerate. He didn't waste his love for Bibi all these years. Little Black growled a few times unwillingly, as if it was responding to Bibi. Bei turned his head and looked at Lin Feng. Then, he waved his little paws and shouted. It meant that Little Black had agreed to help. This made Lin Feng very happy. Little Black, what kind of stone is this? Lin Feng looked at Little Black and asked. Little Black growled, but he couldn't understand what it was saying. Bibi, on the other hand, made some gestures. Lin Feng had lived with Bibi for a long time, so he could understand Bibi's voice and body language. Primordial demonic stone? The demonic stone that was born when the epic was created? The runes on it are all heavenly Tao demonic runes that were branded by the great Tao of heaven and earth? Lin Feng said. Bibi nodded vigorously. Lin Feng immediately revealed an extremely shocked expression. He hadn't expected the stone to be so extraordinary. It was a demonic stone that was born when the world was created and the epic was formed. Moreover, it was branded with heavenly Tao runes. How heaven-defying was the origin demonic stone? Lin Feng couldn't help but feel incredulous. It was no wonder that this black stone could force him back. Little Black, help me collect the origin demonic stone, Lin Feng said. Little Black nodded and looked at the origin demonic stone. At that moment, Little Black's eyes suddenly changed. Its pupils turned black. Its pupils flickered with an incomparably demonic power. It was a power that made one's heart palpitate. Anyone who felt this demonic power would feel a chill run down their spine. It was as if the god of death had descended upon the world. Little Black growled. It was an extremely ancient language. Lin Feng didn't know what it meant. Perhaps it was a language passed down by Little Black's race? After Little Black spoke, many of the runes on the origin demonic stone seemed to come to life. The runes on the origin demonic stone flickered with rays of demonic light. Each ray of demonic light contained the most ancient great Tao of heaven and earth. Loud rumbling sounds could be heard as the origin demonic stone shook violently. After shaking more than 10 times, the origin demonic stone soared into the sky. Then, the origin demonic stone flew into Lin Feng's space-time dimension. Chapter 4596. Blackie had really absorbed the origin magic stone into the temporal space. Blackie's ability was simply too extraordinary. In fact, Lin Feng had always been curious about Blackie's origins. Blackie had the power of darkness and death, even though he was still a cub. His combat strength was unimaginable. Blackie's body was shrouded in a mysterious veil, but Lin Feng didn't know Blackie's exact origins, so he couldn't determine what kind of creature Blackie was. Lin Feng had tried to ask Blackie, but Blackie didn't tell him. In fact, not only did Blackie not tell Lin Feng, but it also didn't tell Bibi. The mysterious language Blackie had just spoken was definitely unimaginably ancient, which proved that Blackie should be the descendant of an extremely ancient and powerful race. However, it was difficult to find out what Blackie's race was for now. Perhaps Blackie would reveal its origins in the future. After helping Lin Feng collect the origin magic stone, Blackie returned to the temporal space. Bei Bei squeaked a few times before he returned to the space-time continuum. Said Lin Feng, smiling. He had obtained the primordial demon stone. What a great harvest! He would try to comprehend the origin magic stone when he had time. The mysterious runes on the origin magic stone were extremely terrifying. Lin Feng felt that if he could comprehend the origin magic stone's secrets, it would definitely be an unimaginable boost to his strength. Lin Feng didn't stop. He continued diving downward. Lin Feng finally arrived at a place 300,000 meters underground. Then, he saw that there was an underground world below. The underground world was enveloped by a huge, fiery red light barrier. Scorching aura surged out from the barrier, and heat waves rolled. Is this a naturally formed light barrier? Or is it a man-made light barrier? Lin Feng couldn't help but frown when he saw the light barrier. He didn't think too much about it. Lin Feng quickly flew toward the light barrier and soon arrived in front of it. When Lin Feng tried to enter the light barrier, he was repelled by the light barrier. Lin Feng then used the formation splitting technique. He tore apart the light barrier and entered it. After Lin Feng entered the light barrier, the places that had been torn apart by Lin Feng were restored to their original state. This light barrier was very extraordinary. It even had an automatic repair function. Lin Feng discovered that the interior of the light shield was a boundless world of magma. The magma here churned violently, emitting waves of heat. Moreover, a large amount of poisonous gas spread out from the magma world. Of course, the poisonous gas emitted from the lava world could not harm Lin Feng at all. Lin Feng flew quickly above the magma world. Not long after, Lin Feng saw a corpse. It was the corpse of a human cultivator. It had been soaked in the magma world for an unknown period of time. What was unbelievable was that the corpse was perfectly preserved. Logically speaking, the temperature of the magma world was so high that anything that was soaked in the magma world for a long time would be destroyed. However, the corpse was not destroyed. It was really inconceivable. This meant that the corpse was definitely an extremely terrifying expert when he was alive. Lin Feng planned to take a closer look at the corpse, so he flew toward it. However, when Lin Feng approached the corpse, he suddenly felt an extremely terrifying aura from the corpse. It was like a warning. Lin Feng knew that some experts would use some special means on their bodies before they died. If anyone dared to approach their corpse would be destroyed. However, when their corpses were destroyed, their corpses would drag the cultivators near them down to hell with them. This was a very common occurrence in the world of cultivators. Therefore, when Lin Feng sensed the terrifying qi coming out of the corpse, he immediately retreated. He continued to fly deeper. Not long after, Lin Feng found the second corpse. This was the corpse of a demon clan cultivator. Just like the previous corpse, the owner of this corpse was also an extremely terrifying existence. He must have been extremely heaven-defying when he was alive, so after death, his aura was still so terrifying. Lin Feng tried to approach this corpse. He felt the same aura as the first corpse. This corpse was also warning him. Lin Feng frowned and quickly retreated. The two corpses that appeared one after another are very terrifying. Who are these two people? Are they from the Lightning Core? Lin Feng could not help but mutter to himself. He continued to fly deeper. As he went deeper, Lin Feng was shocked to find that there were actually many corpses in the magma world. The deeper he flew, the more corpses there were in the magma world. Moreover, each corpse was extremely terrifying. Lin Feng was now certain that these people might really be the corpses of the cultivators who died in the Lightning Core. The cultivator army that was once invincible in an era was a true heavenly army. They were almost invincible existences, and their ability to cooperate in battle was heaven-defying. But the key point was that apart from cooperating in battle, these existences' individual combat ability had also reached an unimaginable level. Lin Feng could not estimate their specific combat strength because it was very difficult to do so. However, since the Lightning Core was able to sweep through the three realms, even the Foreign Army and the Wasteland Army, it was clear how powerful the Lightning Core was. They were schemed against, and in the end, they were completely wiped out. Is this true? Who could have schemed against them? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. He felt that it was very inconceivable. Who knew how many intelligent people there were in the Lightning Core? Just think about it. Would such an invincible army fall into someone's trap? That is, Lin Feng was shocked. He saw a huge mountain range in the magma world's depths. It was a mountain range formed by the underground world. On top of the mountain range, there were many divine weapons, and around the mountain range was boiling magma. Are these the divine weapons of the dead cultivators of the Lightning Core? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself as he flew towards the mountain range. Looking at the densely packed corpses in the magma world, Lin Feng couldn't help but feel an extremely heavy and sorrowful feeling in his heart. Such an invincible army had actually died here, and it had long been forgotten by the world. Lin Feng landed in the mountain range filled with divine weapons. Perhaps it was because too much time had passed, but many of the divine weapons were covered in rust. Buzz, buzz, buzz. When Lin Feng landed, the divine weapons in the entire mountain range shook violently. In the mountain range, a large amount of light green gas permeated the air. This gas was an extremely terrifying type of ghost qi. It didn't take long for the ghost qi to cover the sky and the sun, surrounding the entire mountain range. 15th update. Writing until 12 in the morning. It really wasn't easy. Requesting monthly votes and recommendation votes. Old Man to thanks everyone. Chapter 4597. Lin Feng furrowed his brows. The situation in front of him was too strange and terrifying. He couldn't help but feel his hair stand on end. Fortunately, Lin Feng was skilled and daring. He took out the Buddhist treasure kasaya and draped it over his body. Then, he looked around with a serious expression. If something terrible happened, he would take out the ancient Buddhist skeleton. With the ancient Buddhist skeleton, he should be safer. Living beings have actually come to the place of the dead. An eerie and terrifying voice came from the depths of the mountain range. Following that, a large amount of pale green ghost chi rolled, and a dense group of terrifying existences walked out from the pale green ghost chi. Those existences weren't living beings. Their bodies were condensed from ghost energy. They were the Een spirits of this place. They came from all directions. Een spirits appeared and surrounded the entire mountain range. Found them. They actually found them. According to the legends, after the fall of the invincible lightning core, they turned into an army of Een spirits. After feeling the terrifying aura of the army of Een spirits, Lin Feng couldn't help but show a serious expression. This army of undead spirits was definitely a terrifying existence. Anyone who fell into the encirclement of this army of undead spirits would definitely die. Anyone who was surrounded by Een spirits would feel a sense of despair. "I'm here to find you," Lin Feng said. The leader of the Een spirits sneered. "Find us? Who would remember us? Why are you looking for us?" "To save you. To release you from purgatory," Lin Feng said. "Ha ha ha ha." The army of undead began to laugh loudly. They looked at Lin Feng with eyes full of coldness and contempt. "That's just a lie. This is a paradise for dead spirits. Living beings shouldn't come here. No matter what your reason is, when you set foot in this place, you will become a dead spirit here. You will become one of us." The leader of the Een spirits said coldly. He held a sword in his hand. The sword in his hand was exactly the same as the one on the mountain peak in the depths of the mountain range. This place didn't just bury the lightning core. It also buried their divine weapons. Those divine weapons were also dead. However, the souls of the divine weapons had turned into Een spirits, which were controlled by the Een spirits of the dead cultivators of the lightning core. "I have a keepsake here," Lin Feng said. He took out the ancient map given to him by Jiang Amo. The leader of the Een spirits looked at the map and sneered. "This doesn't mean anything." Hearing that, Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. "Can't this keepsake lead the army of Een spirits?" The leader of the Een spirits sneered. "You want to lead the army of Een spirits with a missing keepsake? You must be daydreaming." Lin Feng's expression. If the keepsake couldn't lead the army of Een spirits, then he would be in a very dangerous situation. "All right, I'm off. I'll come back when I find the other items," said Lin Feng. He wanted to leave. The army of Een spirits was hostile to him. They wanted to kill him. He couldn't stay here any longer. Otherwise, he might really die here. "You don't have to go back and look for it. The other keepsake is with us. In the past, someone came here with a broken keepsake and died in our hands. You won't be an exception." The leader of the army of Een spirits said indifferently. "Kill, kill, kill." The surrounding light green ghostly aura rolled violently. Within the light green ghostly aura, terrifying Een spirits let out cold voices. Those terrifying Een spirits surrounded Lin Feng. Lin Feng felt a dense killing intent. These Een spirits wanted to kill him. Lin Feng activated the Buddhist treasure Kasaya. Boundless Buddhist light surged out. However, the Buddhist light was instantly devoured by the ghostly aura. The Buddhist treasure Kasaya was an extraordinary treasure. However, it wasn't enough to face the army of Een spirits. It couldn't intimidate the army of Een spirits. The army of Een spirits kept approaching. Their aura was too terrifying. They were an invincible army when they were alive. After they died, they were still an almost invincible army of Een spirits. Lin Feng's heart was heavy. He didn't dare to hesitate and quickly took out the ancient Buddha skeleton. The ancient Buddha skeleton floated above Lin Feng and sat cross-legged. "Amami Mami Ku." Suddenly, a loud and clear voice resounded between heaven and earth. An endless Buddhist world appeared behind the ancient Buddha skeleton. In that world, 3,000 divine monks sat cross-legged. Those divine monks chanted Buddhist scriptures together. Endless Buddhist light surged out like a tide. Ancient Buddha skeleton. What a powerful skeleton. It can intimidate Een spirits and ghosts. Unfortunately, it's useless against us. The leader of the army of Een spirits sneered. "Kill." Suddenly, he roared, "Kill, kill, kill." Then, The army of Yin spirits roared together with him. Their wills merged together. They were unimaginably powerful. Their loud shouts actually dispersed the endless Buddhist light. The endless Buddhist world was dispersed. The ancient Buddha skeletons became dim and lifeless. Whoosh! Moreover, the ancient Buddha skeleton flew back to Lin Feng's Chonglu demonic palace. Seeing this, Lin Feng's expression changed. The situation was not good. The ancient Buddha skeleton was destroyed by the army of Yin spirits. This was troublesome. Lin Feng wanted to rush out, but there was ghostly aura everywhere. There was also an endless army of Yin spirits. How could he rush out? Stay, stay, stay. The army of Yin spirits let out cold voices. Their eyes flashed with killing intent. They raised the war spears in their hands, wanting to sweep them at Lin Feng. At that moment, Lin Feng had the feeling that he was going to die. His face was full of bitter smiles. The situation in front of him was indeed despairing. Wait, just as the army of Yin spirits was about to attack Lin Feng, a voice suddenly came from the depths of the mountain. As soon as this voice was heard, the entire army of undead stopped in their tracks. Then, the army of Yin spirits parted to form a path. A man in a cyan robe walked over. All of the Yin spirits couldn't help but reveal a look of respect when they looked at that existence. Lin Feng also looked at that man. Lin Feng saw a lightning mark between the man's eyebrows. Lin Feng could not help but think of what Zhang Emo had told him. The founder of the Lightning Corps was an expert from the Lightning Tribe. There was a lightning mark between the eyebrows. This was also the origin of the name Lightning Corps. And this cultivator in front of him had a lightning mark between his eyebrows. Could this person be the founder of the Lightning Corps, Mushohan? Lin Feng could not help but take a deep breath. Chapter 4598. I didn't expect the descendant of the sovereign emperor clan to come here. The man said to Lin Feng. Senior, are you Mushohan? Lin Feng asked. I am. The man nodded. Senior, will you be like them and try to kill me? Lin Feng asked. Mushohan smiled. Don't worry, I won't kill you. Why? Senior, could it be that you know my ancestor? Lin Feng asked. No, Mushohan replied. Senior, if you don't know my ancestor, why did you let me go? Lin Feng couldn't help but ask. Because, like you, I'm the seventh heavenly master, Mushohan said. When Lin Feng heard that, he was astonished. Lin Feng didn't expect Mushohan to be the seventh heavenly master. The only heavenly master Lin Feng had interacted with was the 36th heavenly master, Chu Moli. However, Chu Moli had turned into a Yin spirit. Because of the heavenly master clan's curse, he had lost himself and lived in pain for all eternity. The heavenly masters before Chu Moli didn't seem to have a good ending either. Therefore, the heavenly master clan was cursed. Lin Feng was also cursed by the heavenly master clan. However, Lin Feng had many curses on him, and the various curses suppressed each other. That was why the curses didn't bother Lin Feng. But Lin Feng knew that if he let his guard down for even a moment, or if he encountered a special situation, the curse would come back to him and he would die. When he broke through to the Emperor realm, the curses came one after another. Back then, Lin Feng had almost lost his life. Therefore, Lin Feng was always afraid of curses. Sometimes, he had to be careful because if he wasn't careful, he could die from curses. If he really died from curses, he would feel like weeping, but no tears would come out. I've always thought that the lineage of the celestial masters had been severed. I never thought that there would still be a successor in this world. Mushohan looked at Lin Feng. He felt gratified and sad at the same time. Perhaps he was thinking about his tragic end and the tragic end of the ancestors of the heavenly master lineage. Now that he saw Lin Feng again, he couldn't help but worry about Lin Feng. Lin Feng said, "It has been passed down intermittently for 36 generations, and my generation is already the 37th generation. 37 generations isn't a lot in such a long time," Mushohan said. In fact, Lin Feng had a lot of questions to ask Mushohan. Lin Feng naturally did not want to let go of this opportunity. He asked, "Senior, our celestial master lineage is a cursed lineage. Why is our celestial master lineage cursed?" Who cursed our celestial master lineage? Mu Xiuhan said, This? I'm not particularly sure. Perhaps only the first-generation ancestor knows that the curse started from the first-generation ancestor. The first-generation ancestor? Lin Feng couldn't help but smile bitterly. He was the founder of the celestial master lineage. Just how ancient was he? He was born with the stone scripture and mastered countless divine abilities and secret techniques. He was an extremely terrifying existence. Of course, the most important thing was that the first ancestor knew the location of the dragon vein, the 8 trigrams of feng shui, the 9 palaces of mystic arts, the Xinhuang hidden armor, and many other secret techniques. These were all the legacies of the celestial master lineage. It was said that the mastermind back then had 9 lineages. The first ancestor severed the ancestral bloodline of 3 of them, causing the 3 lineages to lose their immortality and eventually withdraw from the stage of history. Mu Xiuhan said, Oh my God, the first ancestor of the celestial master lineage is so powerful? Lin Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath. The most terrifying thing about the mastermind was its immortality. It was an almost heaven-defying ability. If the mastermind lost this ability, then there would be a flaw in the mastermind's plan. In other words, they wouldn't be qualified to be the mastermind anymore. The first ancestor of the celestial master lineage was actually able to destroy the foundation of the mastermind. This showed just how powerful the first ancestor of the celestial master lineage was. Mu Xiuhan nodded and said, Yes, the first ancestor of the celestial master lineage is so heaven-defying. Perhaps it's because he's too heaven-defying that our lineage was cursed. The later years of the first ancestor's life are unknown. He never accepted a disciple as if he had a premonition that something bad was going to happen. That's why he didn't want to pass down this bad news to the next generation. It's said that it was a night when the wind howled. A rain of blood fell between heaven and earth. Some people saw several blood-red figures in the rain. No one knew who they were, but those existences took the first ancestor of the celestial master lineage away. After that, the first ancestor of the celestial master lineage never appeared again, and the lineage was cursed as well. Lin Feng couldn't believe it. He said, The first ancestor is so powerful. Even if he's old and weak, he should still be able to fight, right? Why did he leave with those existences? Mu Xiuhan said, I'm not sure, but according to some records in the scriptures, the first ancestor's emotions were very unstable a few days before the incident. He seemed to have a premonition that something was going to happen, so he went to many places during those few days. Those places were places where unforgettable things had happened in the past. He was reminiscing about his past. You should know that people only reminisce about their past when they're about to die. The first ancestor sensed danger, or rather, sensed that his time was coming, so he was reminiscing about his past. Lin Feng said with a bitter smile. What happened back then was really strange. Mu Xiuhan nodded and said, However, the first ancestor probably didn't expect that although he didn't accept a disciple, the lineage of the celestial master lineage wasn't cut off. Later on, the inheritance was still taken away by someone else. If the first ancestor had destroyed the scriptures, perhaps the lineage of the celestial master lineage would truly be cut off. Lin Feng said. Mu Xiuhan said, The scriptures were born with the first ancestor. So how could the first ancestor bear to destroy the scriptures? The second ancestor's situation was the same as the first ancestor's. He didn't manage to hold on until he was old, and he met with a calamity at the peak of his life. The place where he was cultivating in seclusion was also hit by a rain of blood. When the rain of blood dissipated, only a pool of blood was left. Was he defeated and killed? Lin Feng couldn't help but be moved. Mu Xiuhan smiled bitterly and nodded. That's very likely. After that, every ancestor would meet with a calamity. Who did it? Could it be the mastermind behind the scenes? After all, the first ancestor had destroyed 9 of the mastermind's 3 bloodlines. It's normal for the masterminds behind the other 6 bloodlines to be worried. That's why they killed the first ancestor in his old age and cursed the lineage of the celestial master. Lin Feng said his guess. Chapter 4599. Mu Xiuhan said, "Your speculation is indeed a possibility, but it's not very likely." "Why do you say that, senior?" "The mastermind seems to have the ability to do all of this," Lin Feng said. Mu Xiuhan shook his head and said, "I'm afraid the mastermind doesn't have the ability to deal with the primogenitor." At his peak, the primogenitor had severed 3 of the 9 bloodlines of the mastermind. At that time, the mastermind was still unable to deal with the primogenitor. Although the primogenitor's bloodline weakened in his later years and could no longer be compared to his peak, the primogenitor was still very terrifying. The mastermind wouldn't dare to casually make a move. Even if the mastermind made a move, the primogenitor had no reason to not retaliate. This means that there should be someone else. If what you're saying is true, then besides the mastermind, there seems to be another powerful force in this world, and this force is related to the curse. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown as he spoke. This sounded a little unbelievable, but Lin Feng felt that Mu Xiuhan's speculation was correct. After all, the man knew many things that he didn't. Mu Xiuhan said, "It's exactly as you said." Lin Feng continued asking, "Then what did you experience back then?" Mu Xiuhan raised his eyebrows slightly. He sighed and said, "I never experienced the curse." Lin Feng asked curiously, "Then how did you fall?" "Kid, don't ask questions you shouldn't ask." The leader of the Yin Spirit Army said coldly. This existence was very terrifying. Back then, he was Mu Xiuhan's follower and had grown up with him. Their relationship was similar to the relationship between his ancestor, Lin Qi, and the Savage Senior. After Mu Xiuhan established the Lightning Corps, he only held the position of commander for 100 years before passing the position of commander to someone else. This person was called Dugu Hantian. Back then, he was very powerful. Even when he took over the Lightning Corps from Mu Xiuhan, the corps didn't weaken. It wasn't like other corps, where the departure of the founder often meant the beginning of a decline. Dugu Hantian allowed the Lightning Corps to continue growing stronger. Unfortunately, the Lightning Corps still walked the path of destruction in the end. Lin Feng was very puzzled. He did not know what had happened back then that led to the Lightning Corps' destruction. "Actually, there's nothing that can't be said." Mu Xiuhan smiled faintly, as if he had already let go of what happened back then. He said, "I've been betrayed, but I also have a group of good brothers who are willing to sacrifice their lives for me." Those Yin spirits all clenched the weapons in their hands. Clearly, the good brothers that Mu Xiuhan was talking about were them. But Mu Xiuhan didn't talk too much about that. He looked at Lin Feng and said, "You're looking for the Yin Spirit Army because you want to borrow their strength, right?" "Yes." Lin Feng nodded and said, "Now that the end of the world has arrived, I am forming my own force and about to have a decisive battle with another force. That's why they want to borrow the strength of the army of Yin spirits." "Good. Wait until the great battle. I will lead the undead army to support you," Mu Xiuhan said. "Thank you, senior." Lin Feng cupped his fists in gratitude. "You can go now. The Yin Qi here is too strong. It's not good for you to stay here for too long," Mu Xiuhan said. "All right, then I'll take my leave," Lin Feng said. Then, he left. After Lin Feng left, Dugu Hantian said, "Xiuhan, are you really going to leave this place? If you leave, the curse will descend upon you. At that time, you will be controlled by the curse." Dugu Hantian laughed bitterly and said, "What's the difference between early and late? Perhaps I should have left this place long ago. I still have some use for now, so let me help my descendant. I hope that he can break free from the curse's control. But everything, it all depends on his own fortune. I can only help him in the final battle. I can't do anything else for him." Mu Xiuhan's words were filled with sorrow. Dugu Hantian's expression was ugly. The rest of the Yin Spirit Army also had ugly expressions. "No matter when, we are willing to follow you, Xiuhan," Dugu Hantian said. "No, I hope. You can enter the cycle of reincarnation. Maybe you can even return," Mu Xiuhan said. Dugu Hantian and the others did not answer Mu Xiuhan. They had their own beliefs. And what they wanted to do the most was to follow Mu Xiuhan. Whether it was when they were human or now, their original hearts had never changed. Lin Feng quickly flew upwards. He had been thinking about Mu Xiuhan's matter in his mind. Obviously, Mu Xiuhan's death was very strange. There might be something hidden behind it that no one knew. Moreover, Mu Xiuhan said that he had been betrayed, and there were people who were willing to follow him to death. Mu Xiuhan's death, and even the death of the Lightning Corps, might be related to the people who betrayed him. This made Lin Feng quite angry. Who betrayed Mu Xiuhan? He really wanted to know the truth of that year, but Mu Xiuhan did not say much. Obviously, Mu Xiuhan did not want him to dig into the matter of that year. Perhaps he had some misgivings, or perhaps he did not want to recall the sad things of that year. Therefore, when Mu Xiuhan said that he had already let go of the matter of that year, it was actually an excuse to comfort Dugo Hantian and the others. Lin Feng returned to the ancient city. Then, someone came to report to Lin Feng that the Sacred Army's army was frequently mobilizing. It seemed that they wanted to attack the Sinner's Blood Alliance. This was much later than Lin Feng had expected. If the Sacred Army wanted to attack, he would not even be able to repair the great array of the Sinner's City. The Sacred Army's army would be able to reach the Sinner's City and besiege it. This was naturally the best opportunity to besiege the Sinner's City. However, the Sacred Army had only begun to mobilize their army now. This made Lin Feng somewhat puzzled. He did not know what the Sacred Heavenly King was thinking. Of course, the main reason was that Lin Feng did not understand the Sacred Heavenly King's character. If Lin Feng understood the Sacred Heavenly King's character, perhaps he would not be so puzzled. Lin Feng knew that a great battle was about to break out. Originally, Lin Feng only had about 40% confidence in contending against the Sacred Army. But now, with the support of the Nether Army, Lin Feng's confidence in contending against the Sacred Army had increased to 80%. The Sacred Army's most difficult opponent was the Sacred Heavenly King, a true immortal expert. Previously, Lin Feng's side did not have a true immortal expert. Lin Feng planned to join forces with other quasi-true immortals and celestial immortals to besiege the Sacred Heavenly King. But now, Lin Feng had contacted the seventh Heavenly Master, Mu Xiuhan. Although Mu Xiuhan had already turned into a nether spirit, Lin Feng believed that as the seventh Heavenly Master, Mu Xiuhan had an extremely high probability of killing the Sacred Heavenly King. If Mu Xiuhan was unable to do so, he could assist Mu Xiuhan in dealing with the Sacred Heavenly King. At that time, he would only need to seize an opportunity to kill the Sacred Heavenly King with the sun-slaying divine arrow. Chapter 4600. Lin Feng ordered someone to send a message to the 10 great vagrant cultivators. Once the war broke out, the army formed by the top 10 loose cultivators would play a great role. After all, the top 10 loose cultivators were all quasi-true immortals. Their strength was extremely tyrannical, and they also had many experts under their command. Besides, Lin Feng had asked them to recruit more people. The 10 great independent cultivators must have increased their strength. When the great battle arrived, Lin Feng planned to have the 10 great independent cultivators attack the Holy Army from behind. That way, the Holy Army would be caught unprepared. Time passed by one day after another. All kinds of news continued to spread to Sin City. Of course, the great powers in the outside world were also paying attention to the situation at the capital. After all, they knew just what kind of power the Sinner Blood Alliance represented. They had to be eliminated. However, no one knew if the Legion could do it or not. Of course, in the eyes of many great powers, as long as the Divine Heavenly Monarch personally led a crusade against Sin City, the Alliance would definitely be annihilated. However, if the Heavenly Monarch didn't personally take action and only sent out his vice-commanders, then the result would be hard to say. However, it didn't take long for a new piece of news to spread. The Divine Heavenly Monarch personally led an army to Sin City in order to destroy the Alliance. As a true immortal, just how terrifying was this existence? Hence, when the various powers heard about this, they believed that the Sinner's Alliance was doomed. The members of the Sinner's Blood Alliance began to panic. Initially, everyone was hot-blooded and thought that they would die without regrets. However, when faced with the crisis of death, no one could remain calm. Even a saint would not be able to do it. Even an eminent monk would not be able to do it. Being able to live was countless times better than being dead. If the morale of the army was shaken, then this battle would be even more difficult. Lin Feng naturally understood this very well. Lin Feng quickly sent out a message. He told the Alliance that he had a way to kill the divine heavenly monarch. It sounded incredible, but when the cultivators of the Sinner's Blood Alliance heard Lin Feng, they remained silent. Maybe Lin Feng could really do that because he was the emperor of the Sinner's Blood Alliance. That was enough to make people trust him. However, the people in the outside world didn't think so. When the news of Lin Feng saying that he had a way to kill the Divine Heavenly King reached the Divine Heavenly King's ears, Divine Heavenly King immediately revealed a disdainful smile. In his view, Lin Feng was just trying to stabilize the morale of the army. Thus, in the eyes of the Divine Heavenly King, Lin Feng was still immortal. Moreover, he was an immortal. Wasn't it easy for an immortal to kill a mortal? If a mortal wanted to kill an immortal, they could only do it in their dreams or when they were bragging about it. There were naturally many cultivators who had the same thoughts as the Divine Heavenly King. Outside of the Alliance, no one believed that Lin Feng had a way to kill the Divine Heavenly King. Lin Feng didn't care about the suspicions of the cultivators in the outside world. He didn't care if they suspected him or not since there was no loss to him. The only thing Lin Feng cared about was calming down the Sinner army. If the army's morale was broken, then there would be no need to fight this battle. The current results seemed to be quite good, so Lin Feng was quite satisfied. 1 month later, the 5 million cultivators of the Sacred Legion quickly moved towards the Sin capital like divine soldiers. They weren't too far away from the capital. The Sacred Legion claimed to have 10 million cultivators. Of course, this might be a bit of boasting, but even if they didn't have 10 million cultivators, they still had 8 million. However, the Legion naturally couldn't mobilize all of its members for this battle. Because the Sacred Legion ruled over a large area, many ancient cities were garrisoned with large numbers of troops. The Sacred Legion naturally couldn't withdraw from those cities, so they could only mobilize about 5 million cultivators. This time, the Sacred Legion had indeed mobilized 5 million cultivators. This was basically the limit of the Sacred Legion. Actually, in the Divine Heavenly King's opinion, was there a need to mobilize 5 million cultivators to destroy a mere Sinner Alliance? 1 million cultivators were enough to destroy the Sinner Alliance. The reason why he mobilized 5 million cultivators was because the Divine Heavenly King was a cautious person. He wanted to play it safe. Therefore, he mobilized 5 million cultivators to deal with the Sinner Alliance. The Sacred Legion's army will soon reach the Sin capital. The Divine Heavenly King is really going all out this time. He actually led 5 million cultivators to surround the Sinner Alliance hiding in the Sin capital. This time, the Sinner Alliance is definitely finished. However, I feel that the Divine Heavenly King is making a big fuss over nothing. Is there a need to mobilize 5 million cultivators to deal with a mere Sinner Alliance? Some cultivators questioned. If it were any other Heavenly King, they might only mobilize 1 or 2 million cultivators to besiege the Sin capital. However, I don't find it strange that the Divine Heavenly King mobilized 5 million cultivators to besiege the Sin capital. After all, the Divine Heavenly King has always been this cautious. If it weren't for the fact that there are several million cultivators stationed in various important strongholds, the Divine Heavenly King would have mobilized his entire army. Someone else replied. Soon after, someone else added, actually, there's nothing wrong with the Divine Heavenly King's cautious nature. Even a lion needs to go all out to hunt a rabbit. That's why the Divine Heavenly King is so cautious in order to completely prevent any unexpected situations from happening. This way, the chances of victory will greatly increase. Yeah, the Sinner Alliance is definitely going to be destroyed. I wonder what's the situation with the Sinner Alliance right now. I reckon that after hearing the news, the Sinner Alliance's people must be scared out of their wits. According to the information I received, the Sinner Alliance's cultivators are still calm. The reason for this is because Lin Feng issued a decree earlier, telling them that he has a way to kill the Divine Heavenly King. He told them not to worry about the Divine Heavenly King. The Divine Heavenly King is a true immortal. How can Lin Feng kill him? With just his mouth? With just his mouth, he won't be able to kill the Divine Heavenly King. In any case, I think the Sinner Alliance is done for this time. I think so too. At that moment, All the cultivators in the ancient cities were talking about the war. Some influential groups didn't think Lin Feng's Sinner's Blood Alliance would win. They all thought the Sinner's Blood Alliance's cultivators were going to die. Chapter 46:01. Even though Lin Feng didn't know the evaluation of the outside world, he knew that very few people thought highly of them. But so what? If others looked down on him, if he looked down on himself as well, that would be a complete failure. If others looked down on him, he had to look up to himself. Moreover, Lin Feng felt that the most important thing right now was to boost the morale of his troops. On this day, Lin Feng received news from his scouts that the Sacred Army's 5 million soldiers would arrive at the capital in less than a day. Lin Feng gathered the cultivators of the Sinner's Blood Alliance. During this time, the Sinner's Blood Alliance had rapidly expanded to around 500,000 people. Of course, this number was a little small compared to the 5 million soldiers of the Sacred Army. But so what? Lin Feng still had two trump cards. The 500,000 cultivators gathered in the square, forming a dark mass. Many spectators in the distance held their breaths and looked at Lin Feng at the same time. Lin Feng stood on the stage in the sky with the upper echelons of the Sinner's Blood Alliance around him. Lin Feng's voice resounded in the sky, echoing in everyone's ears. Ladies and gentlemen, for a long time, our families, our clansmen, our relatives, our friends, and so on have died at the hands of the executioners of the Sacred Army. Many of us have a blood feud with them. Now that we have been oppressed to the point where there is no room for survival, only death awaits us if we don't resist. In the past, our ancestors worked hard and died on the battlefield for the sake of this epoch. But what did our ancestors get in return? Our ancestors were tainted by the sinner's blood. From then on, they were turned from heroes to sinners. Today, I, Lin Feng, swear. I am willing to swear to the heavens. In order to restore the glory of our ancestors, I am willing to sacrifice everything, including my life. Everyone, are you willing to fight alongside me? Yes, yes, we are willing. Countless cultivators roared. Lin Feng said, good. Brothers, after killing the cultivators of the Sacred Legion, we will loot them clean. Don't forget, while we are clearing the name of our ancestors, we will also make a fortune. After hearing Lin Feng's words, many people cried out loudly. As the saying goes, the words are coarse, but the reason is not coarse. Who doesn't understand that all clamoring in the world is for profit? Therefore, Lin Feng said that after killing the members of the Sacred Corps, he would rob them of their treasures and make a fortune. This was truly what everyone wanted to hear. Destroy the Sacred Legion and seize their magical weapons. Lin Feng roared. Annihilate the Sacred Army and seize their treasures. The 500,000 soldiers of the Sinner's Blood Alliance roared together with Lin Feng. His voice shook the heavens. Destroy the Sacred Army and seize their countless treasures. Lin Feng raised his arms and shouted. Destroy the Sacred Army and seize their countless treasures. The 500,000 soldiers of the Sacred Army continued to shout together with Lin Feng. Destroy the Sacred Army and seize their divine ability inheritance. Seize their immortal scriptures. Lin Feng continued to shout. Destroy the Sacred Army and seize their divine ability inheritance. Seize their immortal scriptures. The 500,000 soldiers of the Sinner's Blood Alliance roared together with Lin Feng. Destroy the Sacred Army and seize their women. Lin Feng continued to shout. Everyone was stunned at first. Then, they began to laugh loudly. Lin Feng shouted, seize beautiful women. We don't want ugly women. If a man wants to sleep, he should sleep with beautiful women. That's right. We want to seize all their beautiful women. The 500,000 soldiers of the Sinner's Blood Alliance roared together. Their voices were 10 times louder than before. Sure enough, men were animals that liked to think with their lower body. Even if they were extremely powerful, they were still like this. Therefore, when Lin Feng said that they would destroy the Sacred Army and seize their beautiful women, many people became excited. Every one of them felt their blood boiling. If Fatty was here, this guy would definitely be the one shouting the loudest. Because Fatso always wanted to bring a fairy home to be his wife. It was just that no one was willing to follow Fatso. Now, they could just directly snatch. Since gentle methods didn't work, they could use some violence. You can shout slogans like this? The higher-ups of the Sinner's Blood Alliance, standing beside Lin Feng, looked at each other in dismay. Then, they couldn't help but laugh bitterly. They were all experienced and knowledgeable experts. When had they ever seen someone shout slogans like this? It was more like the slogans of some mountain bandits. This was because mountain bandits liked to shout before they snatched other people's things. The Sinner's Blood Alliance was a regular army. How did they end up like this? Like leader, like subordinate. However, everyone discovered that Lin Feng's method was indeed very good at raising morale. Because many cultivators who didn't join the Sinner's Blood Alliance also stood up at this moment. Then, they shouted slogans like snatching the other party's treasures and women. The next day, earth-shaking dragon roars resounded through the sky. At the front was an army of 100,000 dragon knights leading the way. Then, strange beasts pulled war chariots over. Some war chariots had war drums on them. Giant spirit gods held huge hammers and constantly beat the war drums. The sound of the war drums seemed to be able to shatter the void. When two armies fought, the war drums would be beaten first. There was actually a reason for this. It was because the war drums were auxiliary divine tools. The war drums' attack power might not be that strong, but the war drums could raise morale. It could increase combat strength. It could greatly increase the morale and combat strength of one's own cultivator army. When enemies met on a narrow path, the brave would win. What was bravery? It referred to morale. It was the same when armies fought. They're here, they're here. On the city walls, countless cultivators roared. The 5 million cultivator army of the Sacred Army had finally arrived. Previously, everyone had imagined the shocking scene of the arrival of the Sacred Army. Now, they saw the army of 100,000 dragon knights opening the way and the giant spirit gods beating the war drums. The dark mass of soldiers was innumerable. Such a scene was truly shocking. Anyone who saw this scene would feel incomparably shocked. They would involuntarily feel fear in their hearts. Originally, the morale of the Sinner's Blood Alliance's cultivator army had been raised by Lin Feng, but now, many people couldn't help but feel fear in their hearts. This was a huge blow to their morale. And just as the Sinner's Blood Alliance's cultivator army was in an uproar, suddenly dong, 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 the sound of war drums could be heard from the city tower. Everybody saw that Lin Feng was standing at the top of the tower with a gigantic battle drum in front of him. That war drum seemed to be different from the other war drums. That war drum was ancient, mysterious, powerful, and immortal. That war drum was the heavenly drum, the supreme treasure. Lin Feng was holding a gigantic hammer in his hand and beating the drums. The sound of the drums spread in the air. The roars of the Sacred Army's 100,000 dragon knights and countless war drums were actually suppressed by the sound of Lin Feng beating the heavenly drum. Heavens! A single person beating the war drum is actually suppressing the sound of 100,000 dragon knights and 10,000 giant spirit gods beating the war drum? This is too inconceivable. Countless cultivators cried out in alarm. Countless cultivators couldn't help but look at Lin Feng, who was beating the war drum. Chapter 4602. The heavenly drum was the king of drums used during the war in the heavenly realm, so it was naturally terrifying. After Lin Feng beat the heavenly drum, not only did it suppress the roars of the 100,000 dragons and 10,000 titan spirit gods, it also caused the blood of the cultivators of the Sinner Blood Alliance to boil. The heavenly drum had a buffing effect, and now, everyone saw Lin Feng beat the drum alone to suppress the enemy. After a brief moment of shock, the cultivators of the Sinner Blood Alliance were filled with fighting spirit. This was equivalent to a double blessing. First, it was the blessing of the heavenly drum itself, and second, it was a kind of self-affirmation in everyone's hearts. Lin Feng alone suppressed the roars of the 100,000 dragons and 10,000 titan spirit gods. Then, if they really fought, they might not necessarily lose to the Sacred Legion. The cultivators of the Sinner Blood Alliance's morale shook the heavens. On the other hand, the morale of the Sacred Legion suddenly dropped, and the 5 million cultivators of the Sinner Blood Alliance became chaotic. One person beating the drum to suppress the roars of the 100,000 dragons and 10,000 Titan spirit gods was a huge blow to their morale. Therefore, many people could not bear this kind of blow. Seated on the divine chariot, the sacred heavenly king's expression was extremely unsightly. He was extremely furious. Because the battle had not even started, their morale was already greatly affected. This was something that the sacred heavenly king had not expected. Divine Heavenly King's original plan was to crush the Sinner Blood Alliance's cultivator army and wipe them out in one fell swoop. As for Lin Feng, he could not directly kill Lin Feng, because that would be letting Lin Feng off too easily. The sacred Heavenly King was even thinking of how to torture Lin Feng so that he would feel better. However, ideals were beautiful, while reality was cruel. For example, what was happening now was incomparably cruel. Calm down. The enemy is only using a magic treasure to deliberately mystify us. Everyone, don't panic. Our sacred legion has always been invincible. This heavenly king has already investigated the enemy's situation. They only have 400,000 to 500,000 soldiers, which is a tenth of our number. Apart from having an advantage in numbers, we also have an absolute advantage in terms of cultivation base, combat experience, magic treasures, divine abilities, numbers, and so on. Since we have such a huge advantage, what is there to worry about? The divine heavenly king's voice resounded above the sacred legion and into everyone's ears. After hearing the divine heavenly king's words, many people felt a lot calmer than before. Although the chaotic army hadn't completely recovered, it was still much better than before. The army of 5 million stopped in the air above Sin City. Lin Feng also stopped beating the drums. Descendants of the sinner's blood. Now, remove the defensive restriction. Open the city gates. You may still have a chance to be forgiven, but if you continue to be stubborn, then all of you will die. Divine Heavenly King's cold voice suddenly resounded between heaven and earth. Lin Feng coldly laughed and said, "Divine Heavenly King, if you kneel on the ground and kowtow to me, then call me little Grandpa Lin 10 times. I'll give you a quick death. Otherwise, I'll let you have a taste of a life worse than death. At that time, you'll kneel on the ground and beg me to kill you." Lin Feng naturally didn't expect the divine heavenly king to listen to him. Lin Feng's words were purely to provoke the divine heavenly king. The divine heavenly king's expression was incomparably gloomy. No matter what, he was still a true immortal expert. Being mocked by Lin Feng like this made him extremely angry. Attack the city. The divine heavenly king waved his hand and gave the order to attack the city. Roar! A high-pitched dragon roar resounded through the sky. Next, the 100,000 dragon knights rode their dragons to the sky above Sin City. Of course, the sky above Sin City was protected by a powerful formation. Therefore, even though the 100,000 dragon knights rode their dragons to the sky above Sin City, they couldn't land in the city. In fact, they didn't fly directly above the city of Sin to descend from the sky into the city of Sin. The 100,000 dragon knights rode their dragons to the sky above Sin City in order to cooperate with the army to break the formation. The dragon knights waved their war spears and swept out terrifying beams of light towards the defensive formation above Sin City. At the same time, the dragons opened their mouths and spat out energy balls one after another, bombarding the defensive barrier above the Sin City. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The earth trembled violently. 1,000-meter-tall abyss demon after another pushed the broken dragon chariot forward step by step. There were over 1,000 abyss trolls moving out together. Every step they took caused the earth to shake. The bodies of the abyss demons were simply too huge. Moreover, there were over 1,000 of them moving together. Naturally, it would cause the earth to shake. Such a scene was truly shocking. At the same time, the main force of the divine heavenly king's army also took out countless magic treasures and attacked the ancient city. Bang, 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 bang. Above Sin City, the 100,000 dragon knights and dragons attacked the defensive formation. The huge defensive light shield suddenly shook violently. However, Sin City's defensive formation was very strong. Therefore, even though the defensive light shield above Sin City was constantly shaking, it was still extremely strong. Clang, clang, clang. The sound of violent collisions rang out one after another. The abyss demons pushed the broken dragon chariot and kept hitting the defensive formation. Every collision seemed to be able to cause the void to collapse. This scene was truly shocking. Countless magic treasures also rushed over and bombarded the defensive barrier of Sin City. However, Sin City's defensive formation was still quite strong. It blocked all kinds of attacks. Dragon-breaking crossbow. Dragon-breaking crossbow. Shoot the dragons above and the abyss demons below. Lin Feng shouted. After hearing Lin Feng's order, the huge dragon-breaking crossbows on the city wall began to work. At least 100 people were needed to operate one dragon-breaking crossbow. Lin Feng set up over 1,000 dragon-breaking crossbows on the city wall. If the power of these dragon-breaking crossbows could be used, it would definitely have an unexpected and shocking effect. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Thick arrows flew out one after another. They were aimed at the dragon knights and dragons above and the abyss demons below. Because the Sinner Blood Alliance's cultivator army attacked from the inside, the defensive formation would not hinder their attacks. The defensive formation would only hinder the attacks from the outside. After the thick crossbow bolts were shot out, Zhang Xian's eyes lit up. Dragons and abyssal trolls were constantly being pierced by the dragon-piercing crossbows. Many dragons and abyssal trolls were killed. Chapter 4603. These crossbow bolts were very different from the others. They were reinforced with self-detonation arrays, so when the bolts pierced through the bodies of the dragons and abyss demons, the self-detonation arrays were activated. Then, the self-destruct formation was activated, and the huge dragon-piercing crossbow bolts exploded. When the dragon-breaking crossbow bolts exploded, the bodies of the dragons and the abyssal trolls exploded as well. Bang, bang, bang. Along with the sound of violent explosions, one after another, came the sound of explosions. When the bodies of the dragons and abyss demons exploded, it naturally caused a great deal of destruction. The surrounding dragon knights, dragons, abyss demons, and the cultivators of the sacred army were all greatly affected. Even if they weren't killed, they would be seriously injured. Therefore, the dragon-breaking crossbow bolt's lethality was very terrifying. Seeing the dragon knights, dragons, abyss demons, and a large number of cultivators of the sacred army dying, the Heavenly Divine Emperor's face had a very ugly expression. Divine Heavenly King's face was extremely ugly. He originally thought that this battle wouldn't be particularly difficult. Who would have thought that it would be so difficult? The main reason was that the defenses of the Sin City were too powerful. Because the attacks of the sacred army were all blocked by the defenses, they couldn't harm the cultivators inside at all. On the other hand, the attacks of the Sinner's Blood Alliance could cause great damage to the cultivators of the sacred army. Whoosh, 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 Lin Feng held the Hui Bao and shot out energy arrows one after another. A dense barrage of energy arrows sank into the army of dragon knights. Poochie, poochie. Then, the sound of flesh being pierced through could be heard. The heads of the dragons were pierced through. The dragon knights were killed one after another. A large number of corpses of dragons and dragon knights fell to the ground. But when those corpses smashed into the defenses of the Sin City, all the corpses were repelled by the defenses of the Sin City. Is that the Hui Bao? The Alliance Master is too powerful. None of his arrows missed. Many people couldn't help but exclaim in admiration. Lin Feng didn't just attack the dragon knights above. He also attacked the abyss demons that were breaking into the city. Lin Feng kept switching targets. In addition, there were over 1,000 dragon-breaking crossbows. The dragon knights and abyss demons suffered disastrous losses. Damn it, damn it. Seeing this scene, Divine Heavenly King was so angry that his whole body trembled, because the losses on their side were too heavy. However, even with such heavy losses, they were still unable to break through the City of Sin's defense. This made the Divine Heavenly King extremely angry. Attack with all your might. Divine Heavenly King roared in anger. The sacred army seemed to have gone mad, as they began to attack the city's defensive barriers in a frenzy. A large number of dragon knights, giant dragons, abyss trolls, and sacred army cultivators died. The corpses on the ground were piled up like a mountain. This kind of fearless charge had a miraculous effect. 2 hours later, cracks began to appear on Sin City's defensive barrier. Divine Heavenly King wielded a large saber and slashed towards the crack. Dazzling blade light condensed. This was the attack of a true immortal. How terrifying was that? It was simply shocking. Clang, clang, clang. One blow after another. Divine Heavenly King slashed out 36 times consecutively. Finally, kacha sounds were heard. Immediately after, the restriction began to shatter. Although only a small part of the restriction was torn apart, the entire formation was greatly affected. Put in more effort, the formation will soon be completely destroyed. A cultivator shouted loudly. The Sacred Army's attack became even fiercer. Kacha. The entire formation was constantly cracking, and the cracks were getting more and more severe. Finally, the restriction protecting Sin City was completely destroyed. The Sacred Army directly charged into Sin City. Up until now, the Sacred Army had already lost 60,000 Dragon Knights, and only a dozen Abyss Trolls were left alive. In addition, the Sacred Army's main Cultivator Army had lost 300,000. In order to break through Sin City's defensive barrier, the Sacred Army had already lost 360,000 cultivators. Naturally, such losses were extremely heavy. However, they did not lose so many people for nothing. After all, the Sacred Army had successfully broken through Sin City's defensive barrier. Kill, slaughter all the Sinner's Blood Alliance cultivators. The Sacred Army's killing intent shook the sky as they charged towards Sin City. At present, the streets of Sin City were empty apart from the Sinner's Blood Alliance cultivator army. A portion of them had already escaped from Sin City before the battle began, while a portion of them hid in the inner city. The battle broke out in the outer city. In the sky, on the streets, and on the city walls, there were cultivators fighting everywhere. Although the Sacred Army had lost 360,000 cultivators, they still had over 4 million cultivators. In terms of numbers, they still had the absolute advantage. Therefore, after the battle broke out, the Sinner's Blood Alliance cultivator army was in an extremely bad situation. Many cultivators were killed by the Sacred Army's Xiushui army. At this moment, Lin Feng shot out a cloud-piercing arrow. Kill. In the distance, earth-shaking shouts could be heard as the 10 great loose cultivators led their armies and charged over. The 10 great loose cultivators each led an army of 100,000, which added up to 1,000,000 cultivators. This 1,000,000 cultivator army caught the Sacred Army unprepared, and a large number of their cultivators were killed. However, the Sacred Army was still the trump card of the cultivator army. They quickly calmed down and began to fight the 10 great loose cultivators. Reinforcements. It's actually reinforcements. 1,000,000 reinforcements. They must be the Alliance Lord's backup plan. Kill, 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 kill. Kill one, and you won't lose anything. Kill two, and you'll earn one. Many cultivators of the Sinner's Blood Alliance roared, their eyes turning red from the killing. 10 great loose cultivators, you dare to rebel? The Sacred Heavenly King roared furiously when he saw the 10 great loose cultivators leading their army. Originally, their 4 million cultivators had the absolute advantage against the 500,000 cultivators of the Sinner's Blood Alliance. Perhaps it wouldn't take long for them to wipe out the Sinner's Blood Alliance army. However, when the 10 great loose cultivators led their army into the battlefield, the Sacred Heavenly King instantly lost 200,000 cultivators. In just a flash, the Sacred Army had lost over 200,000 cultivators. Naturally, such a loss was extremely heavy. Additionally, after the 1,000,000 cultivators led by the 10 great loose cultivators joined the battle, the Sacred Army, which originally held the absolute advantage, had its advantage greatly reduced. As the gap between the two sides grew closer, the battle grew even more intense and a high number of cultivators from both sides were killed by the other side. The great advantage was destroyed by the arrival of the 10 great loose cultivators, which naturally infuriated the Sacred Heavenly King. He wanted nothing more than to hack the 10 great loose cultivators into pieces. Chapter 4604. The battle between the two sides was getting more and more intense. Although the 10 great rogue cultivators had brought over 1,000,000 soldiers, The ratio was still about 1 to 3. Therefore, Lin Feng's army was still at a disadvantage. The divine heavenly king locked onto Lin Feng and walked towards Lin Feng. Although the divine heavenly king wanted to kill all the sinner's blood descendants and the 10 great rogue cultivators, he still wanted to kill all of them. However, the person he wanted to kill the most was still Lin Feng. Brat, you're really capable. Now, even the 10 great rogue cultivators are your people. Amazing, truly amazing. But so what if the 10 great rogue cultivators have joined you? The Divine Legion is still the dominant force. And here, no one can contend against me. I can kill you however I want. The divine heavenly king's voice was extremely cold. He waved the saber in his hand and swept towards Lin Feng. Next, a terrifying saber light condensed and slashed towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng couldn't help but shiver. A true celestial cultivator's attack was unfathomably strong, just like Holy Heavenly King Shen Tian Huang's attack. It was terrifying. Lin Feng was speechless. He was a true celestial cultivator. Lin Feng quickly summoned his ruler's armor and used it to protect his body. At the same time, Lin Feng summoned the Black Dragon Sword and swung it towards the incoming saber light. Clang! Lin Feng and Holy Heavenly King's sword energies collided. Lin Feng had the impression he had been hit by a celestial mountain, which was flying at high speed. His body flew out like a kite with a broken string. Lin Feng managed to stabilize his body in the air with great difficulty. He couldn't help but feel depressed because the attack of a true immortal was truly too terrifying. Earlier, the divine heavenly king didn't display much of his power. He only lightly waved his saber, yet he was able to erupt with such terrifying power. If he went all out, how terrifying would his power be? Just thinking about it made one's hair stand on end. Why hasn't the Lightning Legion appeared yet? Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. He had been waiting for the Lightning Legion to appear. However, the Lightning Legion still hadn't appeared. Brat, to be able to block one of my attacks, your methods are indeed extraordinary. But so what? Although your strength is not bad, you're still an ant in front of me. The divine heavenly king sneered at Lin Feng. He had already investigated and found that Lin Feng didn't have any powerful protectors by his side. Therefore, he didn't have to worry about being ambushed by Lin Feng's protectors when he attacked Lin Feng. The divine heavenly king naturally wouldn't let Lin Feng die so easily. He wanted to let Lin Feng die in endless fear. He liked to see Lin Feng's fear. Who asked Lin Feng to be so fearless? Moreover, he didn't even put the divine heavenly king in his eyes. It was precisely because of Lin Feng's attitude that the divine heavenly king was enraged. The divine heavenly king couldn't wait to see the scene of Lin Feng begging for mercy with a face full of fear. Lin Feng sneered and said, "With your strength, you still have the nerve to act tough? If I were at your level, killing you would be as easy as killing an ant." The divine heavenly king was furious. A junior actually dared to look down on him like this. This made him feel that his dignity was being challenged. The divine heavenly king once again waved the war blade in his hand and slashed towards Lin Feng. The blade light was as fast as lightning as it slashed towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng waved the Black Dragon Sword to block the terrifying blade light. Following the clanging sound of collision, Lin Feng and the divine heavenly king's attack collided for the second time. It was the same as the previous time. Lin Feng was once again sent flying by the divine heavenly king's attack. The divine heavenly king wanted to continue attacking Lin Feng. However, at this moment, the entire city of Sin started to shake violently. Pacha, 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 Pacha. The ground of the city of Sin started to crack open. An incomparably huge abyss appeared in front of everyone's eyes. No one had expected this to happen. Therefore, many people were attracted by this scene. Dong, 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 dong. The sound of war drums actually came from the abyss. It was extremely strange. Many people were extremely puzzled. Why would the ground of the city of Sin split open? Why would the sound of war drums come from the abyss? Everything was too inconceivable. The Lightning Legion is moving out. Lin Feng was pleasantly surprised. He was the only one who knew the inside story. If the Lightning Legion joined the battle, then victory would be theirs. Not long after, a large amount of ghastly energy rushed out from the abyss. A dense army could be seen within. This was an army made up of Een spirits. Although they were only Een spirits, their battle prowess was extremely frightening. The moment they rushed out, everyone could feel a suffocating aura coming from them. What the hell is this? Whether it was the Sacred Legion or the Sinner's Blood Alliance, all of them had terrified expressions on their faces. This was because both sides didn't know the origin of this Een spirit army. Zhang Yimou roared in shock. It's the Lightning Core, the legendary Lightning Core. Alliance Master has found the legendary Lightning Core, so the Lightning Core has come to support us. The news of the Lightning Core was first spread by Zhang Yimou. Because Zhang Yimou had been peddling maps, countless people had been peddled maps by Zhang Yimou. Every time Zhang Yimou peddled maps, he would tell others about the Lightning Core. Over time, naturally, many people had heard of the Lightning Legion. Therefore, when they heard that the Een Spirit Army was the legendary Lightning Legion, everyone couldn't help but be pleasantly surprised. The Lightning Legion joining the battle was extremely good news for the Sinner Blood Alliance. Kill! The Een Spirit Army roared. Next, the Een Spirit Army rushed into the battlefield and began a slaughter with the Divine Heavenly Army. With the addition of the Een Spirit Army, the numbers of both sides were basically equal. The Sinner Blood Alliance was ecstatic. How can this be? Divine Heavenly King looked at the Een Spirit Army that rushed out from the abyss and joined the battle. His face was filled with disbelief, but everything was real. He had no choice but to believe it. Chapter 4605. The Divine Heavenly King had always been a cautious person. Now that the army of Een spirits had come to his aid, he had no choice but to accept it. Now that the reinforcements had arrived, the two sides were evenly matched in terms of numbers. This made the Divine Heavenly King's expression sink. What happened next made the Divine Heavenly King even more gloomy. The undead army was very hard to kill. Only treasures that were extremely effective against undead creatures would be able to kill them. However, the cultivators of the Divine Legion weren't equipped with such treasures. Even though some of them had treasures that could restrain undead creatures, ordinary treasures were ineffective against the undead army. Therefore, when the cultivators of the Divine Legion bombarded the undead soldiers, their attacks couldn't deal any damage to the undead soldiers. The undead soldiers let out a strange laugh. Then, they stabbed their swords into the chests of the cultivators of the Divine Legion. Thus, the cultivators of the Divine Legion were killed one by one. The morale of the cultivators from the Sinner Blood Alliance soared. Working together with the army of the undead, they instantly turned the tide of the battle around, gaining an overwhelming advantage. A high number of the cultivators from the Sacred Army were killed off. Naturally, the Sacred Army was in a dire situation. At this time, Mu Xiuhan wielded his sword and attacked the Divine Heavenly King. This is the Undying Realm. The underworld is the home of you undead. Why are you undead helping the cultivators of the Sinner Blood Alliance? The Divine Heavenly King swung his saber. The weapons of the two sides fiercely clashed. Next, the Divine Heavenly King furiously questioned Mu Xiuhan. When I was alive, I was also the Sinner's Blood that you mentioned. Many of my subordinates were also Sinner's Blood when they were alive. However, they bathed in blood and fought for this epoch. What have you done for this epoch? After killing the heroes? Mu Xiuhan's voice was extremely cold. After hearing this, the Divine Heavenly King's expression became even more unsightly. Mu Xiuhan's attacks became fiercer and fiercer. Although he had turned into an undead, his battle prowess was still extremely terrifying. He actually suppressed the Divine Heavenly King. Of course, the Divine Heavenly King was also very frightening. After all, he was an expert from the immemorial era. Such existences usually had unfathomable divine abilities. Their battle prowess was heaven-defying to an unknown degree. Both sides fought for dozens of rounds. Mu Xiuhan wanted to kill the Divine Heavenly King, but the Divine Heavenly King was able to neutralize his attacks. Although the Divine Heavenly King was suppressed by Mu Xiuhan, it wasn't easy for Mu Xiuhan to kill him in a short time. The Divine Heavenly King knew that things were not going to end. He had lost, of course. He had lost. Of course, the divine heavenly king would die. Because divine heavenly king, Mu Xiuhan was getting stronger and stronger, while he was getting weaker and weaker. Naturally, he couldn't continue like this. If this continued, he might not be able to leave even if he wanted to, retreat. To escape. Was King Mu heavens. Whoosh. Just then, Lin Feng drew his bow and shot an arrow at the divine heavenly king. The sun-slaying divine arrow was extremely frightening. If it could hit the divine heavenly king, he would be dead for sure. Actually, Lin Feng hadn't made a move before because he was waiting for a rare opportunity. Of course, Lin Feng needed to rest as well. After all, he had used the Hou-Yi Bao repeatedly. Lin Feng's energy consumption was too great. He needed to recover his stamina and magic power. Only then would he be able to display even more terrifying battle prowess. Lin Feng's recovery was pretty good. Therefore, when Lin Feng attacked the divine heavenly king, the divine heavenly king tried to escape. Lin Feng knew that he couldn't continue recovering. He needed to kill the divine heavenly king as soon as possible. If he let him escape, he would be a huge threat. The divine heavenly king only wanted to escape. He had no intention of fighting. Therefore, he was relaxed and his will to battle was at its weakest. This was the best time to deal with the divine heavenly king. The sun-slaying divine arrow quickly arrived in front of the divine heavenly king and shot at him. The divine heavenly king's reaction was extremely fast. He pushed back Mu Xiuhan and swept his blade at the sun-slaying divine arrow. Clang! Following the sound of collision, the divine heavenly king was knocked back. The shooting sun divine arrow was sent flying by the divine heavenly king's attack. At this moment, Mu Xiuhan once again charged towards the divine heavenly king. Thus, the divine heavenly king had no choice but to defend against Mu Xiuhan's attack. The sun-slaying divine arrow flew back to Lin Feng's hand. Lin Feng continued to shoot at the divine heavenly king. The divine heavenly king was in charge of close-range attacks, while Lin Feng was in charge of long-range attacks. Although this was his first time cooperating with Mu Xiuhan, Lin Feng and Mu Xiuhan's cooperation was flawless. The divine heavenly king was forced into a very difficult situation. There were several times when the sun-slaying divine arrow almost pierced through his body. Unfortunately, he failed every time. But even if he was lucky enough to avoid death, the divine heavenly king was definitely not in a good state. Several bone-deep wounds appeared on his body. They were all caused by Mu Xiuhan's battle sword. The divine heavenly king was in a state of madness. He was surrounded by Lin Feng and Mu Xiuhan, one from afar and one from close range. Therefore, he was unable to break free from the two. Even if he managed to break free from Mu Xiuhan, Lin Feng's sun-slaying divine arrow would still come for him. Mu Xiuhan used this opportunity to get closer to the divine heavenly king. Therefore, the divine heavenly king was unable to break free. In the continuous battle, the divine heavenly king's injuries were getting worse and worse. Damn it! This seat is an expert from the immemorial era. How can I be killed by you two? The divine heavenly king roared in anger. He displayed the 360,000 spears. Countless spear shadows appeared and stabbed at Mu Xiuhan and Lin Feng. Mu Xiuhan's expression was indifferent. He displayed the boundless sword domain. A world formed by countless swords was formed. Billions of swords hummed in unison. It broke the divine heavenly king's attack. The arrow shot by Lin Feng was hidden among the billions of swords. Puff! The sound of flesh being pierced rang out. The sun-slaying divine arrow pierced through the divine heavenly king's chest. The divine heavenly king was in disbelief. His reaction was extremely fast, and he actually managed to grab the tail of the sun-shooting divine arrow. Just like that, the sun-slaying divine arrow was stuck in the divine heavenly king's body. Chapter 4606. Divine Heavenly King lowered his head and looked at the shooting sun god arrow that pierced through his chest. If it was anyone else, their life force would have been destroyed by the terrifying energy released by the arrow. However, Divine Heavenly King was too powerful. Although his life force was destroyed, he didn't die immediately like the others. He looked at Lin Feng and roared, Why is it like this? Why is it like this? He pounced towards Lin Feng. He couldn't accept what was happening. He was a true immortal expert, one of the peak experts of the Undying Realm, one of the most revered experts in the Undying Realm. But now, he felt his body getting colder and colder. He could feel the aura of death, which was constantly nibbling away at his consciousness. This feeling was too terrible. He didn't want to die, but he couldn't change anything. Therefore, before he died, he wanted to drag Lin Feng down with him. Lin Feng sneered and continued to shoot. An energy arrow condensed and shot towards the divine heavenly king. Puff. This energy arrow also pierced through divine heavenly king's body. Whoosh, Lin Feng shot out arrow after arrow. Puff, puff, puff. One energy arrow after another pierced through divine heavenly king's body. Divine heavenly king lowered his head and looked at the bloody holes in his body. He couldn't help but let out a mournful cry. He was afraid. He was afraid of death. He was extremely afraid of death. Extremely terrified. Perhaps, the longer one lived, the more afraid they were of death. It had been a long time since the end of the immemorial era. Divine Heavenly King enjoyed the feeling of immortality. He even wanted to cross the epochs and live to the next one. But now, all hope had been cut off. The sins you have committed are too numerous to be recorded. Even if I kill you 10,000 times, 100,000 times, it won't be enough to vent my hatred. Lin Feng looked at Divine Heavenly King with an indifferent expression. I didn't lose in the hands of a brat like you. I lost because of my lack of luck. Divine Heavenly King muttered to himself. Then, his corpse fell down. The sun-slaying divine arrow pierced through his body and flew towards Lin Feng, while Lin Feng shattered the divine Heavenly King's body with a single palm strike. In the end, the Holy Heavenly King was only left with his storage ring, saber, and source energy. Dead. Divine Heavenly King is dead. Ha 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 ha. Even the Divine Heavenly King has been killed. What are we waiting for, brothers? Go. Annihilate the Sacred Legion. Kill, kill, kill. We must kill every last one of the Sacred Legion's cultivators. A large number of cultivators roared. The morale of the Alliance was high, but the Sacred Legion had lost all will to fight after the death of the Sacred Heavenly Monarch. They wanted to escape but couldn't. So many of them were killed. Surrender. We're willing to surrender. As long as you don't kill us, we're willing to surrender. We're willing to submit. One cultivator after another screamed in fear. They wanted to live, but the only way to survive was to surrender to Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng couldn't help but reveal a cold expression. The Sacred Legion has committed heinous crimes and massacred the innocent. How can this alliance leader accept your surrender? Kill everyone in the Sacred Legion. Lin Feng coldly shouted. Kill all the bastards in the Sacred Legion. We don't accept surrender. Kill, kill, kill. Grind their bones to dust. Many cultivators roared, their killing intent shaking the sky. The battle ended. In the end, the Sacred Legion was completely annihilated. Apart from the Divine Heavenly King, the 5 vice-commanders who came were also killed. Not a single one of the 5 million cultivators of the Sacred Legion remained in reserve due to the addition of the Een Spirit Army. With the addition of the Een Spirits, the Sinner Blood Alliance's losses were greatly reduced. The Sinner Blood Alliance lost more than 400,000 cultivators. This wasn't a particularly large number, but it wasn't a small number either. After all, the Sinner Blood Alliance only had 1.5 million cultivators. However, war was cruel to begin with. Blood had to be shed in war. I have a great wish. I hope that there will be no more war in this world. I have a great wish. I hope that all living things are equal and can live forever. I have a great wish. I hope that the epic will last forever and all living things will not perish. Right at this moment, Lin Feng's voice resounded throughout the world. The cruelty of war had greatly affected Lin Feng. Lin Feng couldn't help but make a great wish. Lin Feng inadvertently used the power of the Great Wish art. The Oath and the Tao fused together. Lin Feng's Great Wish art fused with the Heavenly Tao, fusing with the world. Behind Lin Feng, boundless sacred light appeared. In a daze, everyone felt that Lin Feng was like a saint. countless cultivators knelt down and shouted, "We are willing to follow the Alliance Lord to our deaths." "Rise," Lin Feng said. Only then did everyone rise. Lin Feng continued, "The Sacred Army has been annihilated, but there are still many of them garrisoned in various important cities. Moreover, many immortal veins in Sin Realm are under their control. Now is the best time for us to conquer Sin Realm. Leave a portion of us to clean up the battlefield. The rest will be divided into 10 cultivator armies. We will wipe out the remnants of the Sacred Army and conquer Sin Realm." "Understood." The cultivator armies of the Sinner's Blood Alliance answered. Lin Feng had demon ancestor Joshua, and the others stay behind to guard Sin City. He had the 10 great wandering cultivators lead their armies to wipe out the remnants of the Sacred Army. Soon, the 10 great wandering cultivators led their armies and left. And at this moment, the army of undead spirits rushed out. Lin Feng left with the Een Spirit Army. The Een Spirit Army disappeared into the forest. Only Mu Xiuhan stood outside the city, waiting for Lin Feng. "Where did they go?" Lin Feng asked. "The Netherworld," Mu Xiuhan said. "Senior, what about you?" Lin Feng asked. "I will also go to the Netherworld. This time, the power of the curse has begun to appear in my body." Mu Xiuhan flicked his finger, and the power of the curse danced on his fingertip. Seeing this, Lin Feng's expression turned extremely ugly. "How can this be?" Lin Feng asked. He thought of a possibility and said, "Leaving that place and being exposed, is that why the curse descended?" Lin Feng's voice was filled with sorrow. He had seen the cursed Jun Moli turn into a Een spirit, lose himself, and live a life worse than death. Now, Mu Xiuhan seemed to be following in his footsteps. "You don't have to be sad. This day will come sooner or later." "Since it will come sooner or later, what's the difference between a day earlier and a day later? I'm very happy that I can still do something for this world before I get lost," Mu Xiuhan said with a smile. Perhaps he had already seen through life and death. He was a tragic hero. Lin Feng felt extremely depressed and uncomfortable, but he could not help Mu Xiuhan. He could only watch as Mu Xiuhan was cursed and lost himself. This made Lin Feng feel extremely sorrowful. Chapter 4607. Mu Xiuhan continued, "Our lineage is always accompanied by misfortune, and it's difficult to resolve. Even if we're able to live peacefully, we'll still encounter misfortune in our later years. Fortunately, our lineage has been passed down to your generation, and we might be able to find a way to resolve it. When the era changes, you might be able to resolve the curse of the Heavenly Master lineage." Lin Feng smiled bitterly and said, "My wish is to prevent the destruction of the era. That way, the living beings in the universe will be able to avoid the calamity that will befall them." Mu Xiuhan was slightly taken aback. He then looked at Lin Feng with a gratified expression and said, "You're able to think of the billions of living beings first. Even I, as your senior, have a whole new level of respect for you. However, the change of the era is irreversible, and I naturally hope that you'll be able to reverse it. If you can really achieve that, you might be able to resolve the curse of our lineage." "I hope so. I can't think that far ahead. I can only take one step at a time," Lin Feng said. Mu Xiuhan nodded and said, "How about taking a walk with me?" "Senior, where do you plan to go?" Lin Feng asked curiously. "The Heavenly Court," Mu Xiuhan said. Hearing that, Lin Feng couldn't help but reveal a stunned expression. "Are you afraid?" Mu Xiuhan asked. "No." Lin Feng shook his head. A golden divine gate slowly appeared in Mu Xiuhan's hand. It was a supreme treasure called the Gate of Heart. It was Mu Xiuhan's natal treasure. "I've refined this treasure for my entire life. I can move it with my heart, and the door of my heart can take us anywhere," Mu Xiuhan said. "However, the Heavenly Court is very far away. How long will it take us to reach it?" Lin Feng asked. "No, we can reach it in an instant with the Gate of Heart," Mu Xiuhan said. Lin Feng was stunned. That was too unbelievable. It sounded like Mu Xiuhan was bragging. However, it was obvious that Mu Xiuhan was telling the truth. "We need to find a quiet place," Mu Xiuhan said. He flew into the distance while Lin Feng followed behind him. They sat cross-legged on the peak of a mountain. It was snowing heavily here. Lin Feng and Mu Xiuhan sat opposite each other. The gate of wolf floated in front of them. Use your heart to sense it, Mu Xiuhan said. Lin Feng nodded. He used his heart to sense the door of mind. Soon, Lin Feng established a connection with the gate of mind. Then, he felt the world spinning around him. When he appeared in the next moment, Lin Feng was already outside the heavenly court. The palaces here were all floating in the air, just like the celestial palaces in the legends. Many red-crowned cranes were flying between the clouds. There were also many Pegasus galloping in the void. Such a scene was truly extraordinary. In the distance, there was a huge, ancient, immortal gate. A large number of cultivators were stationed around the immortal gate. That was the legendary southern heavenly gate. Mu Xiuhan stood beside Lin Feng. Lin Feng was very surprised. It was really as Mu Xiuhan said. In the blink of an eye, he could reach the place he wanted to go. It was really unbelievable. However, Lin Feng felt that it was extremely unreasonable. After all, the distance was so far away. How could he reach it in the blink of an eye? This was already beyond the limits of the laws of heaven and earth. Lin Feng sensed for a moment and realized that his strength seemed to have decreased. He felt that his strength was only about 60 to 70% of his original strength. Senior, the situation doesn't seem right. This shouldn't be my original body, right? Lin Feng looked at Mu Xiuhan and said. He had already sensed that something was wrong. Mu Xiuhan smiled and said, the gate of mind will condense an avatar in another place. This avatar's strength will be different according to the degree of sensing the gate of mind. The lower limit is 50% of the original body's battle strength, and the upper limit is 150% of the original body's battle strength. Right now, I can reach the peak of the upper limit, but because you are not familiar with the gate of mind, you can only reach about 60 to 70%. However, this is your first time sensing the gate of mind. To be able to reach this level is already extremely extraordinary. Lin Feng asked, if this avatar is killed, will our original body be affected? Mu Xiuhan shook his head and said, of course not. Hearing this, Lin Feng couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. This gate of mind was too awesome, wasn't it? Just think about it. If Lin Feng was in control of the gate of mind, he could use the gate of mind to condense an avatar in a place where a supreme treasure had appeared. The avatar's battle strength would at most be 1.5 times that of the original body's battle strength. How incredible would that be? At that time, the original body wouldn't even need to appear, and he would be able to snatch all kinds of opportunities from hundreds of millions of miles away. Just thinking about it made Lin Feng extremely excited. Of course, the gate of mind had many uses. For example, if Lin Feng wanted to kill someone, he would be in the city of Sin, but the person he wanted to kill would be in an ancient city in the Central Plains. If he flew, it would take 10 years to reach that city. Even if he used a teleportation formation, it would take 1 or 2 years. However, if he used the gate of mind, he would be able to condense an avatar that was much stronger than the original body. Moreover, if the avatar was killed, the original body wouldn't be affected at all. Such a supreme treasure was too heaven-defying. Lin Feng wondered if he should have a chat with Mu Xiuhan later. Mu Xiuhan definitely wouldn't be able to use the gate of mind in the future. Since that was the case, the gate of will could continue to function as it had fallen into his hands. Of course, Lin Feng wouldn't say these words now, because now wasn't the time to say these words. Let's go, Mu Xiuhan said. Then, he walked towards the southern heavens gate. The heavenly court was very special. There were 4 heavenly gates in the north, south, east, and west. These 4 heavenly gates were 4 supreme treasures. The places where the 4 heavenly gates were located were surrounded by powerful seals. Therefore, although they couldn't see the city walls, they couldn't barge in without permission. If they touched the seals, it would be very dangerous. Only the locations where the 4 heavenly gates were located could be entered to explore. The heavenly court was filled with a sense of mystery to countless people. In the past, in my era, the heavenly court was still ruled by generations of heavenly emperors. It was a very chaotic era, with many forces fighting against each other. However, 2 of my good friends, Di Jun and Tai Yi, wanted to control the heavenly court and establish the supreme demonic power of the demon race. However, I died before they could control the heavenly court. I wonder what happened to them after that. Mushohan sighed. Chapter 4608. Linfeng was astonished when he heard Mushohan's words. He had never thought that Mushohan would be friends with Dijun and Tai. After Mushohan's death, his soul had turned into a Yin spirit. Since then, he had been in a deep slumber and had never left. Although he had reappeared, there were many things that he didn't know about back then. Linfeng said, later on, Dijun and Tai joined forces to establish the heavenly court. Mushohan smiled and said, "It seems like they succeeded. However, you're wrong to say that they joined forces to establish the heavenly court. The heavenly court has existed since ancient times. They should have joined forces to establish the demonic court." Linfeng smiled bitterly and said, "Some scriptures say that the heavenly court was established by Dijun and Tai. I think there's a reason for that." Linfeng paused for a moment to organize his thoughts before he continued. Dijun and Tai united the undying world, which is unprecedented. The heavenly court is famous because of that. Many people think that the heavenly court was established by the two of them. If the scriptures are correct, I think they inherited the name of the heavenly court and didn't change it to the demonic court. That's very likely. Mushohan nodded. Linfeng continued. In the beginning, Dijun and Tai ruled the heavenly court together. However, Tai disappeared without a trace. From then on, Dijun ruled the heavenly court alone. Maybe it's because he's monopolized power. As time goes by, the monster Emperor Dijun seems to have become a different person. He went from caring for the people and being strict with himself to being obstinate and self-opinionated. He was jealous of the virtuous, and in the end, he became a cruel and bloodthirsty tyrant. In addition, his sun turned into a sun that roasted the earth, causing countless worlds to be destroyed due to the high temperature. The great shaman Hoi felt that the world was suffering, so he created the divine sun shooting art and the divine sun arrow. Hoi shot down 9 suns. Dijun was furious and killed Hoi. In order to avenge Hoi, the shaman race fought a decisive battle against the heavenly court led by Dijun. In the end, both sides suffered great losses. After that, the demon emperor Dijun also disappeared. Some people said that the demon emperor Dijun was killed, while others said that he passed away. There were all kinds of theories. The heavenly human race and the immortal race took control of the heavenly court. Dijun's era came to an end. Mushohan heard Linfeng's words and sighed. After a long time, he sighed, "I didn't expect them to end up like this. Demon Emperor Tai is still all right. He has always been loved and respected by the demon race. However, Demon Emperor Dijun's reputation is not so good. The demon race was at its peak, but because of Demon Emperor Dijun's ruthlessness, the demon race was dragged into the abyss. Until now, the demon race has not recovered," Linfeng said. Mushohan said, "When he was young, he was very ambitious. He hoped to lead the heavenly demon race to become stronger. He took it as his responsibility to revitalize the heavenly demon race." Linfeng said, "He did it, but power changed him. People change." Mushohan nodded, then sighed and said, "Yes, people change." Mushohan retracted his thoughts. He didn't say anything else and continued walking toward the southern heavenly gate. Entering the heavenly court wasn't something that anyone could do. The heavenly court was heavily guarded. Anyone who entered or left the heavenly court would have their identity checked. Therefore, there was only one way for Linfeng and Mushohan to enter the heavenly court. That was to barge in. Linfeng didn't know why Mushohan entered the heavenly court, but presumably, he had his own motives. As for himself, he only needed to watch from the side. When the time came, the truth would be revealed. When they arrived at the southern heavenly gate, the guards saw Linfeng and Mushohan. However, they didn't go forward to interrogate them. After Linfeng and Mushohan stepped onto the southern heavenly gate, the guards stopped Linfeng and Mushohan. "Who are you? Do you have a token or a token?" The guard leader looked at Linfeng and Mushohan indifferently. Of course, they didn't have such things. However, at this moment, Mu Xiuhan's body exuded an extremely strange force. That strange force enveloped the group of people. Then, the group of people stood motionless on the spot, as though they were frozen by someone. Mu Xiuhan walked inside. Lin Feng came back to his senses and followed behind Mu Xiuhan. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel a little emotional. He didn't know what method Mu Xiuhan used to freeze those people. However, it was obvious that Mu Xiuhan didn't use the space Dao. If it was, Lin Feng would have sensed it long ago. After Lin Feng and Mu Xiuhan passed through the southern heavenly gate, they entered the heavenly court. After they left, the guards came back to their senses. Their expressions were normal. They seemed to have forgotten that Lin Feng and Mu Xiuhan had been here. It had to be said that Mu Xiuhan's methods were really powerful and strange. After entering the heavenly court, they were surrounded by floating immortal fog. In the immortal fog, there were many jade corridors. All kinds of corridors extended in all directions and intertwined with each other, leading to different places. From time to time, some beautiful fairies could be seen flying by. There were also cultivators in the heavenly court flying by. The heavenly court was very big. Many people didn't know each other. Therefore, no one suspected Lin Feng and Mu Xiuhan's identities. After entering the heavenly court, Mu Xiuhan obviously had a purpose. He chose a direction and flew all the way there. Finally, they stopped at a place where cherry blossoms were in full bloom. There were many cultivators in other places, but there was no one in the place where the cherry blossoms were in full bloom. It didn't fit in with the other places. "What is this place?" Lin Feng asked. "A place I've been to in the past," Mu Xiuhan said. He was a little depressed. He thought of some things that happened here in the past. Even though countless years had passed, some things that happened back then were still unforgettable. Therefore, before he was completely lost, he chose to come here and take a look. Mu Xiuhan walked toward the cherry blossom forest. The cherry blossom forest covered an area of hundreds of acres. Every cherry blossom was planted in the deity land. The cherry blossoms here were different from the cherry blossoms outside. The cherry blossoms outside bloomed once a year. However, the cherry blossoms here were deity trees. They formed stamens once every 3,000 years. They bloomed once every 3,000 years. They withered once every 3,000 years. And now was the time when the cherry blossoms withered. Therefore, Lin Feng didn't see the cherry blossoms in full bloom. He only saw the bleak autumn wind in the garden. Mu Xiuhan walked step by step into the cherry blossom forest. Finally, he stopped in front of a pavilion. He looked at the pavilion for a long time, his gaze never leaving it. Chapter 4609. Lin Feng did not disturb Mu Xiuhan and allowed him to reminisce about what had happened in the past. If Mu Xiuhan was willing to tell him about what had happened to him in the past, Lin Feng, of course, liked to be a listener. If Mu Xiuhan was not willing to talk, then Lin Feng could not do anything about it. Time passed. After a quarter of an hour, Mu Xiuhan came back to his senses and walked towards the pavilion. "Nothing has changed here. It's still the same," Mu Xiuhan said. "Senior, were you familiar with this place in the past?" Lin Feng asked. "Yes, I was very familiar with it. I came here often. Now that I think about it, everything feels as unreal as the moon in the water and the flowers in the mirror." Mu Xiuhan sighed. His voice was still very low. It was obvious that he was deeply moved after coming here. "What's so special about this place? Is it human?" Lin Feng could not help but ask tentatively. In Lin Feng's opinion, anything, no matter how precious it was, would be hard to forget. Only people could be like this. Family, friends, or lovers. It was the season when cherry blossoms were in full bloom. I was invited by a friend to a small gathering she held here. She was the owner of this place. She was very beautiful as a fairy. Of course, I've seen a lot of beautiful women. I won't look at them in a new light just because of their looks. We bumped into each other a few more times, but each time, we were just acquaintances. Until one day, I was invited by a friend to go to an ancient temple deep in the mountains to study the great Tao. Occasionally, when we were relaxing, we would take a stroll in the mountain forest. The snowy mountain forest is very beautiful. That day, My friend had something to do and went out. I was alone in the mountain forest, admiring the snow. I didn't think I'd see her again. She's dancing in the snow. She's so pure and beautiful, said Lin Feng. She saw me and stopped. Then, the two of us walked together in the snowy mountain forest, enjoying the beautiful snowy scenery. She told me that she liked snow because she was born during a snowstorm. That's why her father named her Qingxue. Qingxue is her name. She likes both snow and cherry blossoms. Snow is pure, and so are cherry blossoms. We started to have more contact with each other. During this period of time, I resigned from the post of Commander of Lightning Corps and handed over the position of Commander of Lightning Corps to Han Tian. Han Tian did an excellent job, and I was able to rest assured. In the following years, I went to many places with Qingxue. At this point, Mu Xiuhan looked at Lin Feng and asked, "Do you think I'm a person who lusts after women?" Lin Feng shook his head and said, "Love between a man and a woman is human nature. This is the most sincere love in the world, and it's impossible for people to part with it." That's right. No matter how strong your cultivation is, you can't escape love, Mu Xiuhan murmured. He then continued, "After that, Qingxue invited me to her clan to meet her parents. I gladly agreed, but I didn't know that it was a huge trap." Hearing this, Lin Feng's heart trembled. Previously, Mu Xiuhan had said that he had been betrayed by someone and had died. Lin Feng felt that the person who had betrayed Mu Xiuhan was Qingxue. She was the woman Mu Xiuhan had loved deeply. Lin Feng did not interrupt. He was a qualified listener, and he did not say anything. He just listened quietly. She approached me for a reason. Because my heart gate was extraordinary, many people had their eyes on it. However, my means were very terrifying. In that era, even though there were many strong cultivators, I still had a place in it. However, those who had their eyes on my heart gate naturally didn't have a good ending. The Ying clan was one of the top ancient clans in the celestial realm. Their clan had once produced a heaven master, and it was an unimaginably powerful clan. They wanted my gate of heart, but they knew that using forceful methods would be too difficult. Thus, they schemed against me step by step, and Qingxue's appearance led me step by step into the abyss. Mu Xiuhan sighed. Perhaps he still hadn't forgotten Qingxue. Lin Feng asked, "Senior, did you not notice anything amiss?" Lin Feng asked this because he felt that an expert like Mu Xiuhan would have a powerful spiritual sense and judgment. If Qingxue had lied to him, he should have noticed it. She cultivated the emotionless Tao. I only found out about this later. To cultivate the emotionless Tao to its peak, she needs to fall in love first. Then, she needs to sever her emotions, Mu Xiuhan said. Lin Feng's expression changed slightly when he heard that. He finally understood why Mu Xiuhan hadn't noticed anything. It was because Qingxue had truly fallen in love with him when they were dating. Mu Xiuhan loved Qingxue very much. Qingxue also loved Mu Xiuhan very much. There weren't many people who cultivated the emotionless Tao. However, Lin Feng still had some understanding of this strange Tao. "She treated you as her target to sever her gate of heart?" Lin Feng asked after taking a deep breath. "Yes." Mu Xiuhan nodded bitterly. When people who cultivated the emotionless Tao were in love, their love would be very passionate. They would love to the point that the world would collapse, and they would love to the point that the seas would dry up. However, when they severed their gate of heart, they would become extremely heartless. In order to succeed, they wouldn't hesitate to kill the person they loved the most. Although I'm very strong, I can't predict the future. Moreover, an ancient clan like that has an unimaginably strong foundation. They used the strength of their foundation to suppress me, and then they wanted to obtain the gate of heart from me. They didn't know what kind of treasure the gate of heart was. It was a treasure that could move at will. Therefore, it was an incorporeal treasure. If I didn't let it appear, it wouldn't appear, and they wouldn't be able to find it. They were very crazy and wanted to torture me to get it, but I didn't give up. In the end, they had no choice but to give up. That day, Qingxue came. She was very beautiful, just as beautiful as I knew her in the past. We chatted for a long time, and in the end, she used her sword to stab me in the chest. I just watched as she dug my heart out. My life ended just like that. Mu Xiuhan's expression was very bitter. He looked at Lin Feng and asked, "Tell me, isn't my life a joke?" Chapter 46:10. She was once invincible in heavenly earth. How powerful and terrifying was that? In the end, she ended up like this. It was indeed lamentable. Lin Feng said, "Is it wrong to believe in your lover?" "Yes, is it wrong?" Mu Xiuhan muttered to himself. When Lin Feng said that, he was surprised. Mu Xiuhan knew what Lin Feng's point of view was. Love itself was beautiful. It was also desirable. However, when there was a betrayer in love, the price was often extremely heavy. "Senior, do you hate her?" Lin Feng asked. "I used to hate her, but now I don't hate her anymore," Mu Xiuhan said. "Why?" Lin Feng asked doubtfully. "Because, after all, she is someone I used to love," Mu Xiuhan said. When he said those words, his heart must be in pain, right? In fact, no matter who it happened to, it would be incomparably painful. How could such a thing be forgiven? It was naturally easy to say it out loud, but only one could know what one was thinking in their heart. "This is a forbidden area. Who gave you the courage to trespass into it?" A cold voice sounded. Lin Feng and Mu Xiuhan turned their heads to look. A beautiful woman appeared. She looked coldly at Lin Feng and Mu Xiuhan. Mu Xiuhan did not pay any attention to the beautiful woman. He was still reminiscing about the years that had passed. Lin Feng looked at the beautiful woman. He felt that the beautiful woman's expression was unfriendly. Back then, this place belonged to Qingxue. Perhaps, after countless years, it had already changed owners? Was this beautiful woman the new owner of this place? "We entered this place by mistake. Fairy, please calm down," Lin Feng said. "Reckless fool, go to hell." The beautiful woman's expression was cold as she blasted a palm towards Lin Feng. That palm contained the power to destroy heaven and earth. Lin Feng couldn't help but turn pale with fright. Who was this beautiful woman? How could she be so terrifying? She was probably even stronger than the divine heavenly king. The heavenly court was indeed full of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. Mu Xiuhan's figure swayed slightly before he arrived in front of Lin Feng and slammed his palm towards the beautiful woman. Bang! The two of them collided fiercely. Then, both of them took a step back. The woman narrowed her eyes and said, "An expert like you is definitely not a nobody. Why have I never heard of you?" Mu Xiuhan didn't answer the beautiful woman. Instead, he looked at Lin Feng and was about to ask Lin Feng to leave. However, Mu Xiuhan saw something that made him smile bitterly. Lin Feng actually took out a dagger and carved a line of words on the pavilion. Young Master Lin Feng was here. This was the content of this line of words. This pavilion was created from eternal divine wood. It has existed for billions of years and is branded with the aura of the Grand Tao. You actually dared to leave words on it. You deserve death. When the beautiful woman saw the words Lin Feng left on the pavilion, she almost died of anger. She leaped out and charged towards Lin Feng, wanting to turn Lin Feng into ashes. However, Mu Xiuhan stopped the beautiful woman. Although the beautiful woman was extremely strong, Mu Xiuhan was also extremely terrifying. Therefore, she couldn't break through Mu Xiuhan and get to Lin Feng's side. Lin Feng liked to take advantage of other people. With Mu Xiuhan next to him, Lin Feng had the perfect opportunity to act tough and take advantage of other people. After all, Mu Xiuhan would protect him no matter what happened. Lin Feng wasn't afraid at all. Lin Feng said, "Do you believe that I won't leave a line of words on your body? I'll write that I'm willing to be a servant for the rest of my life and serve my master, Lin Feng." "Lin Feng? You're called Lin Feng? I know who you are. You're Lin Baiyan's son." "No. Aren't you in the Sin realm? Why are you in the heavenly court? You aren't real bodies of flesh and blood?" At this moment, the female cultivator finally realized that something was wrong. Even though Lin Feng and Mu Xiuhan looked like flesh and blood to the female cultivator, because of Lin Feng's social status, the female cultivator was sure that Lin Feng and Mu Xiuhan weren't flesh and blood. She didn't know what kind of method they had used to come to the celestial court. It sounded unbelievable. However, no matter how unbelievable it was, he had to believe that everything he saw with his own eyes was real. Mu Xiuhan pushed back the female cultivator with a palm strike, then used his magic power to wrap around Lin Feng and flew into the distance. The female cultivator's expression was extremely ugly. Actually, she hadn't heard the news of the Sacred Army's complete annihilation. However, Lin Feng and another powerful cultivator appeared in the heavenly court. This was enough to explain a lot of things. That person was also a sinner's blood? The female cultivator didn't chase because she knew that Lin Feng and Mu Xiuhan weren't real bodies. There was no need to chase. So what if she caught up? She might as well spread the news and let others take action. The female cultivator's gaze swept past Mu Xiuhan and looked at Lin Feng. Then, she couldn't help but grit her teeth. For countless years, who dared to be so rude to her? However, Lin Feng dared to do so, which made the female cultivator very angry. Kid, remember my name. I'm called the Mysticine Fairy. You better pray that you don't fall into my hands. Otherwise, I'll let you have a taste of what it's like to live a life worse than death. The female cultivator said coldly. Lin Feng shouted from afar. Can you be more shameless? You're already so old, yet you still call yourself a fairy. Is your skin that thick? Even a dragon-slaying saber can't cut through your skin. Hearing this, the female cultivator flew into a rage. She couldn't wait to grind Lin Feng's bones to dust. She hurriedly issued an order. When the Heavenly Court's great general found out that someone had silently snuck into the Heavenly Court, his expression changed greatly. He quickly led the army to encircle Lin Feng and Mu Xiuhan. However, Lin Feng and Mu Xiuhan's consciousness had already returned to their original position. They returned to the real world. Kid, you really know how to cause trouble. You actually angered a true immortal to such an extent. Mu Xiuhan said with a smile. Lin Feng said, it's best to anger her to death. Since she's a true immortal of the Heavenly Court, she's definitely not a good person. Mu Xiuhan nodded and said, I'm leaving. He stood up and looked into the distance. Hearing that Mu Xiuhan was leaving, Lin Feng's heart immediately surged with a strong sense of sadness. Mu Xiuhan was leaving. He would be like Senior Chu Moli, losing himself and dying in pain. This made Lin Feng extremely sad. However, Lin Feng was unable to save Mu Xiuhan. Practice cultivation well, live well. I know you really want the Door of Intentions, but it's not with me now. The Door of Intentions I can create is just an illusion. The Door of Intentions has no shape or form, but it has a spirit. After I died, the Door of Intentions left. Maybe it was lost in the celestial world. It's a treasure of the celestial teachers. It's destined to be with you. You can go to the celestial world to find it, said Lin Feng. Mu Xiuhan patted Lin Feng's shoulder and walked into the distance. Senior, have a safe journey. Chapter 46:11. Lin Feng's mood was very gloomy. He couldn't let go of Mu Xiuhan's matter for a long time. Mu Xiuhan was like a mirror to him. This mirror reflected some of the things that might happen to Lin Feng in the future. His later years were filled with uncertainties and terrifying curses. Of course, Lin Feng had always been an optimist. He quickly calmed down. The Gate of Will is in the celestial world. Where could it be? Lin Feng couldn't help but wonder. He was very interested in the Gate of Will. If he could obtain it, it would definitely be a great harvest. However, it clearly wasn't easy to obtain it. Fortunately, he knew the location of the Gate of Will. When it reappeared in the future, he could go look for it. For now, he had to fight steadily and surely in the undying world, one step at a time. He couldn't be in a hurry. In the following period of time, the 10 great rogue cultivators led their armies and subdued the Sin domain. Only a small portion of the Sacred Army's cultivator army managed to escape the Sin domain. The rest were all killed. Naturally, what happened in Sin realm couldn't be hidden from the world. News spread rapidly as if it had grown wings. When the news spread, it immediately caused a huge uproar. Before the war, most people didn't think highly of Lin Feng's Sinner Alliance. Many people thought that the Sinner Alliance would be destroyed and Lin Feng would die without a grave. However, after the war ended, everything that happened was too outrageous. It exceeded everyone's expectations. Sacred Heavenly King is a true immortal. How was he killed? I heard that the Sinner Alliance also has a true immortal. The enemy's true immortal joined forces with Lin Feng to kill Sacred Heavenly King. Can Lin Feng participate in a war of this level? Brother, you're too ignorant. Don't underestimate Lin Feng just because he's young. He's extremely terrifying. He's Lin Baiyan's son. How can he be simple? Moreover, he wields the Hui Bao and the Sunslaying Divine Arrow. Rumor has it that he can utilize the power of the Hui Bao and the Sunslaying Divine Arrow. This is extremely frightening. Thus, this person is most adept at long-range attacks. One careless mistake, and you will be killed by the Hui Bao. But the Sacred Legion's numbers far exceed the Sinner Alliance's. Did the Sacred Legion just watch Sacred Heavenly King get besieged without helping? That doesn't make sense. It's said that Lin Feng found the legendary Lightning Legion and turned it into an army of undead. Lin Feng is now the commander of the Lightning Legion. The Lightning Legion's participation in the war completely changed the situation. The undead army of the Lightning Legion is very difficult to kill. Therefore, when the Lightning Legion joined the battle, the Sacred Legion couldn't even protect themselves. How could they help Sacred Heavenly King? So that's the case. I didn't expect so many things to happen. No wonder the Sinner Emperor wasn't afraid of the Sacred Legion. It turns out that he has absolute strength. I wonder if that true immortal is also a Sinner's bloodline? What if he's a Sinner's bloodline? I wonder if there are any more Sinner's bloodline experts at this level? The Sacred Legion is one of the most elite legions under the Heavenly Emperor. Sacred Heavenly King is also the Heavenly Emperor's favorite general. Now that Sacred Heavenly King is dead and the Sacred Legion is destroyed, the Heavenly Emperor will definitely be furious. Perhaps he will send a new army to destroy the Sinner capital. That is indeed a possibility. However, the Heavenly Emperor will definitely have some misgivings before doing so. First of all, the Heavenly Emperor has 18 legions under his command. These 18 legions all have their own missions. For example, the Sacred Legion that guards Sin Realm, the 3 legions that monitor the Ancient Demon region, the legion that guards the Eastern Evil province, and so on. The 18 legions all have their own missions. Now that the Sacred Legion has been destroyed, the Heavenly Emperor won't be able to casually summon troops from other places. Does that mean the Heavenly Emperor doesn't plan to deal with Sin Realm? Of course not. Sin Realm is definitely a huge problem for the Heavenly Emperor. I'm guessing that the Heavenly Emperor will borrow the help of other realms to deal with Sin Realm. The Heavenly Emperor will probably summon troops from other realms to attack Sin Realm. Although the cultivator armies from other realms can't be compared to the 18 legions under the Heavenly Emperor's command, the cultivator armies from the other realms aren't weak either. It's very difficult to fight across realms because the journey is too long. Moreover, there are very few teleportation formations in the Undying Realm. Even the teleportation formations in the Undying Realm are small and can't transport an entire army. Therefore, it will take a very long time for an army to fight across realms. If you want to fight across multiple realms, it will take even longer. Therefore, if the Heavenly Emperor wants to summon an army, he will probably summon troops from the realms near Sin Realm. That's true. However, there are only 4 realms that can summon an army. North of Sin Realm is the vast and boundless extreme north. There are no forces there, so it's impossible to summon an army from there. To the east is the Black Sand region. The region master of the Black Sand region is the sworn brother of the Heavenly Emperor and is very loyal to him. He should be able to summon an army from there. To the southeast is the Chaos Sword region. The region master of the Chaos Sword region, Jian Shursan, seems to be loyal to the Heavenly Emperor on the surface, but in reality, he's disobeying the Heavenly Emperor on the surface. To the south is the Nine Deity region. The region master of the Nine Deity region is the region master of the Mystic Deity region. She has always had a cold relationship with the Heavenly Emperor. If he summons an army from her, she will probably do the same thing as the region master of the Chaos Sword region. To the southwest is the Weak Water region. The region master of the Weak Water region, Nalan Ling Han, is very loyal to the Heavenly Emperor. He can summon an army from there. To the north is a part of the Ancient Demon region. The Ancient Demon region doesn't have a good relationship with the Heavenly Court. It's already good enough that they don't help Sin Realm. Don't even think about summoning an army from there. If that's the case, the Black Sand region, the Chaos Sword region, the Nine Deity region, and the Weak Water region will be able to summon an army. The Black Sand region and the Weak Water region will be the main forces. The Chaos Sword region and the Nine Deity region won't have a falling out with the Heavenly Emperor. If they have no choice but to summon an army, they probably won't do anything. Brother, your analysis is really thorough. It's admirable. The 4 regions will send an army to destroy Sin Realm. I wonder if they'll succeed? That's not clear. We don't know how strong Sin Realm is right now, so we'll have to wait and see. The Heavenly Emperor will probably summon real experts to support them. For example, a few true immortals. When the time comes, the Sinner's Blood Alliance will definitely be destroyed. The Emperor of the Sinner's Blood, Lin Feng, will definitely die. Chapter 46:12. There were all kinds of discussions in the outside world. However, Lin Feng didn't pay too much attention to the outside world. Everything in the Sin Realm was developing well. The entire Sin Realm had fallen into Lin Feng's hands. Lin Feng's subordinates were guarding the various ancient cities, including many immortal veins, Lin Feng's subordinates. These immortal veins could provide an endless supply of immortal stones to the Sinner's Blood Alliance. After all, the cultivation resources the Sinner's Blood Alliance used every day was already an astronomical figure. In addition, Lin Feng sent people to the surrounding domains to inquire about the news of the armies in the surrounding domains. The Sinner's Blood Alliance naturally guessed this as well. Although the Heavenly Emperor had 17 legions as powerful as the Sacred Legion, the Heavenly Emperor couldn't easily mobilize them because once they were mobilized, there would be great trouble elsewhere. Therefore, the higher-ups of the Sinner's Blood Alliance believed that the Heavenly Emperor would mobilize armies from the surrounding domains to attack the Sinner's Blood Alliance. This was why Lin Feng sent people to observe the situation in the other domains. There weren't many people in these domains who were completely loyal to the Heavenly Emperor. Therefore, Lin Feng wasn't that worried if the other domains really joined forces to attack the Sinner's Blood Alliance. What worried Lin Feng was that the other side would mobilize several true immortals. Although there weren't many true immortals in the Undying Realm, there were still some. This was especially true in the Heavenly Court, where most of them were true immortals. Of course, Lin Feng also knew that the outside world would be suspicious of Mu Xiuhan's identity, including the Heavenly Emperor. These people would most likely think that Mu Xiuhan was also a Sinner's Blood Alliance expert. Since the Sinner's Blood Alliance already had a true immortal, would there be a second true immortal? Was there going to be a third true immortal realm expert? The cultivators from the major powers would definitely be suspicious of this matter. As long as they were suspicious of this matter, they would be apprehensive. If the Heavenly Emperor didn't dispatch a true immortal, then the domain lords of the other domains might not necessarily dispatch troops no matter how loyal they were to the Heavenly Emperor. After all, those domain lords weren't true immortals. They were basically quasi-true immortals. There might be experts in their clans who had reached this level, but they definitely wouldn't risk their lives for the Heavenly Emperor. After all, they were only born to live until the next epoch. They wouldn't be under the Heavenly Emperor's Blood Alliance's blood. At this stage, Lin Feng could think of 2 Heavenly Courts immortal. The first was to set up the 9 extinction immortal vanquishing formation passed down by the Celestial Master Path. This formation was extremely powerful and required 36 kinds of materials to set up. Its complexity was simply unimaginable. Lin Feng couldn't complete it alone. Therefore, Lin Feng asked Zhang Yimou to gather all the spiritual formation masters of the Sinner's Blood Alliance. At the same time, he issued a decree to recruit top-notch spiritual formation masters with a large sum of money. Lin Feng asked these spiritual formation masters to assist him in setting up the formation. The second was to contact some top-notch experts. The top-notch experts Lin Feng could think of were the Red World Fairy, Senior Savage, and Senior Duguya. Of course, Lin Feng knew some other experts, such as the female Holy Spirit. The key was that he wasn't familiar with them, and they wouldn't help him. The only ones who were close to Lin Feng were the Red World Fairy, Savage, and Duguya. There was no need to talk about the Red World Fairy. She had a complicated relationship with Lin Feng. The Red World Fairy couldn't avoid this either. Senior Savage was Lin Feng's Dao protector. Senior Duguya was his father's good brother, and one of the top experts of the human race. He had even obtained an inheritance like the 6 paths of reincarnation. Therefore, one could imagine how powerful Senior Duguya's inheritance was. Lin Feng sent people to inquire about the Red World Fairy, Duguya, and Savage. However, considering that their whereabouts were uncertain, Lin Feng also sent people to spread some news about the upcoming battle between the Sinner's Blood Alliance and the Heavenly Emperor's army. He hoped that they would come to help after receiving the news. Lin Feng and more than 200 spiritual formation masters worked together. After 3 months, they finally finished setting up the 9-extinction Immortal Vanquishing formation. After paying such a huge price, Lin Feng wasn't sure if the formation could deal with true immortal experts. After all, it was his first time setting up such a formation. On this day, the Poison Ancestor, Evil Dominator Saint, and the 2 Ghost Emperors came. After seeing them, Lin Feng was very happy. Ever since they entered the Outer Realm, they had been separated from him due to danger. This time, almost 60 years had passed. Seeing them again, Lin Feng was naturally very excited. Du Zhu, the Heretic Sovereign Saint, and the 2 Ghost Emperors were also very excited. Their cultivation base increased very quickly. Du Zhu's cultivation had reached the Earth Immortal Realm. The Heretic Sovereign Saint had also reached the Earth Immortal Realm. The 2 Ghost Emperors had reached the Human Immortal Realm. Young Master is an amazing person wherever he goes. How long has it been since he came to the Undying Realm? Du Zhu said with a smile. The Heretic Sovereign Saint said, Hee, that's natural. Our young master is destined to become the Epic Lord. Stop boasting about me. After not seeing me for so many years, your bootlicking skills have increased faster than your strength. Lin Feng said in annoyance. Du Zhu and the Heretic Sovereign Saint smiled embarrassedly. Lin Feng gave some loose immortal sources, human immortal sources, earth immortal sources, and other resources to Du Zhu, the Heretic Sovereign Saint, and the 2 Ghost Emperors. These sources were no longer useful to the current Lin Feng. As for the celestial immortal and quasi-true immortal sources, Lin Feng gave them to the higher-ups of the Sinner's Blood Alliance. Now that Lin Feng had the sacred Heavenly King's true immortal source, even quasi-true immortal sources were useless to Lin Feng. Only sources above the true immortal level would be of great use to him. Hee, young master is still the best to us. You always think of us when you get good things. But don't worry, young master. When the battle starts, young master will know how powerful I and the Zombie Emperor are. We didn't waste our time all these years. Du Zhu said proudly. Oh, what kind of powerful methods do you have? Lin Feng asked curiously. It's a secret. There's no point in saying it now. Du Zhu grinned. Heretic Sovereign Saint, tell me. Lin Feng said. The Heretic Sovereign Saint said. It's a secret. Young master will know when the time comes. Lin Feng couldn't help but roll his eyes. The Evil Zun Saint used to be an honest person, but since he had been with the Poison Ancestor, he had become so slippery. As expected, one is marked by the company one keeps. Chapter 46:13. The arrival of Du Zhu, Evil Sovereign Saint, and the 2 Ghost Emperors made Lin Feng very happy. Lin Feng let them rest for the time being. Lin Feng planned to go into closed-door cultivation. He still hasn't refined the source of the Divine Heavenly King. Therefore, Lin Feng planned to refine the source of the Divine Heavenly King. If Lin Feng could refine the source of the Divine Heavenly King, his cultivation would definitely improve greatly. At that time, Lin Feng's cultivation would increase dramatically. Of course, Lin Feng was extremely eager to increase his cultivation. Lin Feng entered the time-space and took out the source of the Divine Heavenly King. The source of the Divine Heavenly King was very powerful. This was the source of a true immortal expert. Such a source was simply a priceless treasure. If news of it were to spread out, countless people would go crazy for it. Lin Feng sat down cross-legged and started to circulate the immemorial dragonesque elephant art. Following the circulation of the art, the source of the Divine Heavenly King was gradually absorbed by Lin Feng's body. The source of the Divine Heavenly King was relatively complete. The source of the Divine Heavenly King's source included soul energy. This was different from the source that Lin Feng obtained before. The source of the soul energy that Lin Feng obtained before dissipated. Therefore, he couldn't refine it. There was a reason why the souls of those cultivators dissipated. Because those cultivators weren't in charge of a force, they had restrictions placed on their souls. After they were killed, the restrictions would destroy their souls. This was to prevent others from searching for their memories after they died. However, the Divine Heavenly King was different. The Divine Heavenly King was a true immortal expert, the leader of the Divine Army, who had the qualifications to place a soul seal on him. It was always him who placed a soul seal on others. Therefore, the Divine Heavenly King's mind didn't have a soul seal. When he was killed, his soul was still very complete. Therefore, his source included the source of the Grand Tao and the source of the soul. After Lin Feng completely refined the source of the Divine Heavenly King, Lin Feng's soul energy and cultivation level would be greatly improved. As time passed, the powerful source energy was gradually absorbed by Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng's soul level and his own cultivation level were constantly rising. Lin Feng's soul had long since broken through to the loose immortal realm. Although there hadn't been such a situation where the soul level had soared, Lin Feng's soul level had always been slowly and steadily rising. Now, Lin Feng's soul had reached the 5th level of the human immortal realm. After refining the Divine Heavenly King's soul, Lin Feng's soul level rose rapidly from the 5th layer of the worldly immortal stage to the earthly immortal stage. However, this didn't stop until Lin Feng's soul level reached the 5th layer of earthly immortal stage. After refining the Divine Heavenly King's soul origin, Lin Feng's soul level rose by 10 levels. This effect was too heaven-defying. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel excited. Lin Feng's cultivation level rose from the 1st layer of the Emperor Lord Realm to the 5th layer of the Emperor Lord Realm. Lin Feng's cultivation level rose by 4 levels. Although it wasn't as much as his soul level, Lin Feng was still very satisfied. After all, Lin Feng's accumulation was too great. Although it was difficult for his soul level to rise, it was far from being comparable to his own cultivation level. The difficulty of Lin Feng's cultivation level was absolutely rare in this world. After refining the same true immortal soul origin, Lin Feng only rose by 4 levels. If it was someone else, perhaps they would have risen by more than 10 levels, or even dozens of levels. Of course, although the increase in level was not particularly great, the increase in combat power was extremely great. Accumulating strength had its advantages. Although it was a little difficult to break through, it could still complete the challenge. Moreover, the achievements that one could achieve in the future were far from what others could compare with. After coming out of seclusion, Lin Feng sensed the increase in his cultivation level. His face couldn't help but reveal a pleasantly surprised expression. Lin Feng was naturally very satisfied with this increase. It would be great if he could kill a few more true immortal stage experts. At that time, he could refine their souls and perhaps break through to the true immortal stage. However, thinking about the difficulty of killing true immortal stage experts, Lin Feng shook his head and couldn't help but reveal a wry smile. Wanting to kill true immortal stage experts was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Lin Feng then checked on the Devil King insect and Flying Crimson Demonic Insect Queen's cultivation. As Lin Feng's 3rd incomparably powerful insect and 3rd powerful insect queen, Lin Feng was naturally very concerned about their situation. The Devil King insect had an extremely heaven-defying individual combat strength, just like Lin Feng's Emperor Archaic and Immemorial Ancestral insect. Their individual combat strength couldn't help but be amazed. On the other hand, the Flying Crimson Demonic insect was a swarm of poisonous insects. Together with Lin Feng's primordial demon refining insects and immortal devouring insects, they were absolutely terrifying. Lin Feng was very happy that the Devil King insect had completed its 1st transformation. Now, Lin Feng could summon the Devil King insect to fight. However, he didn't plan to do so right now because the Devil King insect's current combat strength wasn't enough to deal with Lin Feng's current enemies. Lin Feng needed to wait until the Devil King insect finished its 2nd transformation before he could summon it to help. As for the Flying Crimson Demonic Insect Queen, it had already begun laying eggs. It wouldn't be long before the eggs hatched into Flying Crimson Demonic insects. Soon, he would have his 3rd powerful insect swarm. When the time came, his third insect swarm would be able to erupt with heaven-defying combat strength. It was at this moment that Lin Feng suddenly noticed a violent fluctuation coming from the magic lotus. Lin Feng was very surprised, wondering what was happening to the world lotus. Lin Feng entered the world of the magic lotus. Shuiwei, come see me quickly. Swoosh. With a flash of light, a beautiful woman appeared. This woman was none other than the magic lotus's spirit, Shuiwei. Shuiwei slightly bowed to Lin Feng before asking, Master, what are your orders? Lin Feng asked, why is there such a powerful fluctuation coming from the magic lotus? What's going on inside the magic lotus? Shuiwei replied, this subordinate is currently fusing with the third world inside the magic lotus. That's why there is such a violent fluctuation. Oh? Fusing with the third world inside the magic lotus? If the magic lotus fuses with the third world inside the magic lotus, how powerful will it be? Lin Feng asked curiously. Shuiwei replied, it should be able to reach between the peak of the Earth Immortal stage and the early stage of the Sky Immortal stage. However, the exact level of power will only be known after the fusion is complete. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.